What's up, chat? Let's put this World Cup on. I'm not going to be talking at all in this stream, barely. But here's the World Cup for you guys. Let's go. Just putting on my thumbnail.
Once again, rotate a little bit late when the zone comes in. Bakes off the height. Precision getting knocked down there from TQ. T-Chub coming in with a big pop-off, getting very, very meticulous as to where he looks. Looking for storm lines, looking for boxes finishing up. Looks like a jump pad. Floors coming down, or maybe just a block off. Heavy Sniper still around. Him and Tick have to look around and see if they can get any picks at the moment.
Yeah, and you see there, we also have Harambe and Jorge Q, as well as Majin and Provoke in that box underneath. And one thing I want to note about Ticha, you can see how he has his box.
I'm going to mute my mic. Hold on, chat. Just doing my intro and that. You know what I mean?
Able to put any shots towards them, even if they want to, but there is another team up on the high ground.
Secret Milan. So we've got Milan here.
Now we'll look skyward, and that is a long rotation, pretty much max length there for 6th zone. And you see automatically everyone taking to the sky.
A lot of rippers up in the air, 2 different stages of high ground up right now.
I will see your comment in a sec. Yo, what's up, JL? I'm not going to be playing this stream. Literally just putting World Cup on.
They do have a lot of shields. Osmo now boxed up, making sure
Need to put my thumbnail on.
for that rotation. It is a long one, as you
I literally just copy and pasted this thumbnail off Google. Because it's not like it's an insane moment. You get me? Oh, reload, bro. Come on.
He's gonna go low, get his shield knocked out.
Because I'll be back in a minute anyway. I got my money, £5 for £4.80, about to go shop.
And you already see the changes in the loot pool being so blatant in terms of what players are carrying. So many more shields, whether it's the big pots or the chug splashes being prioritized here, which is why
I need to find my thumbnail. World Cup. Open.
Because of this rotation,
Save.
now posted up in a great power position in the zone, gets the knock onto Hexus, 1Z there, and then gets another one back to back to Elims right away, and they're going to be able to get a decent amount of loot being on the side with not bad storm priority either.
Yes, that jump pad that was used saved them so many mats, got them in such a good position to get that low ground tunnel off.
This guy is good.
Vantage point secure and cut off at the end of the day.
Let it. PC boy, by the way.
Same layer at the moment, still have a lot of heals and another launch to boot, and their map management is so amazing. Still have 700 mats on the rotational person, Osmo.
I'll see your comments, whoever commented. Well, obviously, JL. Just, if you haven't leave a like though, please do leave a like. It'd be highly appreciated.
It's great to have those extra resources, but it's not worth losing the duo.
Yo, what's up, Nightbot? Welcome to the stream. I will be back in about... Alright, JL, I'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. I'm going to mute my mic. And moderators, be nice in the channel. Say hello. Welcome the new people. Tell them to like, subscribe. And
another big thing is the
yeah.
bouncing back to the original 5th zone location, so a lot of recycled builds being used.
10 minutes. Right.
No chance there for him. Going to be moving
See you in 10 minutes.
Stay safe. Wood builds at the moment, which are a little bit weaker, but he's going to be looking at all angles at the moment to see what he can pick up.
Yes, Provoke going down as well as Aimsons and Tiki, and we have our top 10, so 5 placement points for everyone. Good 180 out of Osmo, finds Zol and gets some of the builds, but not enough. He's looking to see what else he can find. Sees the ballers on the low ground, but he's looking to go aggro because he doesn't have a lot of builds. 2 left, 1 left, none left now. Needs to find whatever he can. Looking for the shot, gets blasted, but he sends one right back, 115 to the face. Flutter Boys, did you hear that? That's Osmo coming for your spot, doing everything he can. 8 players left, 6 duos remaining, and there it is. Spoiler goes down, so we have our top 5. It's all about the Elims, the victory out, and brilliant from Osmo, ducking back out into the storm, gets Tamir, gets the minimum amount of builds, gets all 13 of them, but still playing the low ground. 6 duos left. 5 duos remaining, 6 players. There's 1 full duo left, and Osmo's looking for a great edit down. 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out, Harmy, and that was the other duo. We'll have a solo match if he can clean it up. Conversion comes through. 95 HP now, Shy.
In the zone now, it's the last circle, 9th one closing in. 40 seconds, Osmo finally goes down to Majin. Majin moving up, Jurg on the high ground, Pepper down below. It's a solo game at the moment, 1v1v1v1. Jurg making sure his lair is secure. Pepper up on the mid-ground lair. Majin getting pressure now. Pepper on low HP. Majin taking storm damage to get his heals up on a trap. It's his though. He moves in. Pepper going down. Risk versus Majin on the low ground. Jurg looking for pressure from height. Gets those combat shots on Majin, who gets dropped into the zone. Gets a quick pickup from Risk. Taking that risk, getting the reward. Jurg now on a lot of HP and shield, not taking tick step. Imagine with the surprise factor low on Mats, can he get it done? 3 left for him. Or Elims, he tries for the 50-50, but Jerk comes in. S2V wins at the end of the day. Very dope stuff there.
Well done there from Harambe and Jorge Q, closing out there and matching the score of Majin and Provoke, putting both those duos at 34 points after the match. Again, we saw the leaderboard. It was 41-37. These are all duos who are up towards the top, but the action doesn't stop. Hopping into the third game here, we are also into the final hour in Europe, so we're getting down to those last games. You can see it, closing in on it. I apologize, a little premature there, but 103 left. People getting towards the back half and the back thirds of their games. 49 players left, 28 duos.
Yeah, these games are stacked. Looks like every single game so far has had that Storm Surge active, and these placement points are coming in around the 7th, 8th circle, so you have to be able to survive, have to keep your duo alive, have to manage your mats and your heals all the way through. Impact Pixie going up a few layers, looking for any more vantage points, any more sightlines he can block off. A launch pad coming in as people start to rotate to that 5th zone a little bit early, but the zone just started moving. Ballers all around, a lot of open pyramid edits as well, as Pixie takes a few shots but has those shields available, going up for another big shot up or another build up. Alliance Powder goes down. So as we said, these early rotations, then the cutoffs, they're huge in terms of picking up free elims on people moving.
And somebody just tried to force that box as well with that flint knock. Pixie being not about it. Powder is getting enough space to be revived there. You can see that in the top right corner of your screen as the rotation comes out. Not a single player dropped on that rotation so far. We are still at 49 left, and this is kind of the proliferation of those heals. You see more people carrying heals, carrying shields. It allows you to take chip. If you get chipped on rotation, no longer out. Good wall replace there from Shaw, and Nira getting into Noisy's box. Can they get the wall again as he gets to take it back? Does get it. Can they get the stairs in? And they do. Noisy and Arctic Dangerous going down. Well done from the EVD duo.
Even with all this mobility, these guys now know the meta. It's week 10. Everyone's already caught up. You have to be able to go for these elims when you have the tools, when you have the pressure and that ping advantage as well. Shaw on full HP, Nirwa at full HP as well. Both sitting on a few elims for each other on pops. 25 people left alive. That Storm Surge is going to start ticking as well, as we haven't gone down to that 30 threshold just yet. A lot of action on low ground. Ballers still available to a lot of people as well.
And no, one thing you do talk about that ping advantage, it certainly does not hurt to have the better internet going in there. But shout out to SEE and the Vietnamese team being the first one coming through there and putting on a show last night. And I think it's actually something that's a little bit more mitigated when it comes to duos because of the strategies that end up going through, where you'll have one person forcing the wall, the other person trying to replace, or the other person isn't actually trying to get the wall right there, but they're trying to get the stair in first so then they can get the wall there. And you get to start playing games like the double combats, looking for the player in the sky there with the Shadow Bomb. As you see, their Storm Surge is active. We'll need to go to 30 players, and they got the knock onto Haibuzan courtesy of the storm right before taking to the sky.
Looks like these guys are at the very highest point of this rift as well. They get to make the final decision onto where to land. No pressure from them at all as you look over. Not that much going on in mid-ground to protect height as it's getting shot out by Rapti. No elims coming out just yet. Everyone playing very, very safe and tunneling very well at the moment. Crew just gets powdered down once again. Scribbly Doggy now looking for any other shots down below his mid-ground tarp layer. That's an option a lot of mid-ground bases have. They can look down anywhere in their box, just protect the top and look for any squeeze eliminations on the bottom side of the map.
And we're going back on this rotation, so you can see how Scribby and his teammate just immediately turn backwards and start editing through their tunnel. Now they can just slowly edit backwards and fire shots. Stink goes out, they spray shots towards it, but it is actually Lanoof who gets that knock. Killigore does go down as well. Lanoof and Clinton had previously qualified, but are doing their best in here. You see Violin in the top left as we get closer and closer to the placement threshold. Kazuna and Scribby, good job cycling out right now. Lanoof does end up going down, as well as a Supremacy Attack, who was in that top 10. However, they need to be cautious of their mats starting to get a little lower and a lot of tunnels going on around here.
Yes, and it's actually amazing what these guys are doing right now. They're waiting and tunneling as much as possible, not peeking too hard, then waiting for utility to get used. Any rifts, you go for those big shots in the air. Nesty going down now from a lower tarp layer. Once again, they're waiting for people to stop and make mistakes and capitalizing on everything as they did on the Stinks before as well.
That was a huge swing, puts them up to 7 eliminations and into the top 15. That was a 5-point bonus right there for this duo, and into 30 points, up into the conversation. You can see Shaw then gets the knock onto Waste as everyone gets sent down on ultimate high as Nura is trying to work upwards and get some form of connection. He has the next lowest target. He's just going to drop down and say, whatever. Here's all those heals and the utility we talk about as we close in on the next placement threshold. 11 duos left, 14 players, so a lot of solo riders, 8 of them hanging out, while only the 3 full duos.
No challenges coming on from height either, which allows Shaw to get these easy pressure picks with this gold scar. These guys making sure their rotations are perfect. Lol Boom now going down. When you have this time, when you have the Pro-Am weekend to prepare your loadout, your loot path, you get these big loadouts that are gold, all the heals you need. Another knock coming in from Nirwa. They're just tearing on this high ground at the moment.
They're doing brilliant, making sure they're getting good angles, but some shots going up, finally going to force them. And that's one thing we've talked about. Uncontested high ground is great until somebody from the low ground decides to take notice of you. You are the only one raining down the shots. However, cover yourself up and just reset. You'll get that advantage back. As you can see, Nura and Shaw doing a brilliant job of this, but look at the chaos on the low ground. Right now, you have Nura in your top right, Scrib Doggy in your bottom right. The rest of the action on the left side as Nali gets taken down by Kazuna, and we have our top 5, so it's all about the elims and the victory route as Violinin finds Fixie right after he gets past the 3 duos left. Drop down ends up coming through. Scrib Doggy will he find it, but instead Nura comes in late to the party, cleans up 1, cleans up 2, and that is it. Shaw and Nura take home the victory royale. 10 eliminations, 44 points, putting them in contention again. We're into the final hour of Europe. We're right there. These are the matches that decide those last spots. 4 are up for grabs, Shy. That's it, 4 left.
It's all around the world, man. Low, mid, and height, everything getting contested. Juice to milk for eliminations on every single layer. And Shaw and Nirwa just played it perfectly there. We see the chaos of all these builds, all these layer switches, people just trying to survive. It is the last week as well. Everyone's just trying out their honed strategies over these 9 weeks of preparation. They've had solos and duos. A lot of people splitting up, playing with new duos as well. We've seen that a lot in NA East, as well in EU. As we get into this next game, Issa and Camo on the low ground.
Yep, and you can see that controller duo trying to represent and do everything they can. Issa having already qualified for the solos, Camo trying to find his way to New York City. Can they make it? And this is actually one of the thinnest end games we've seen so far, with 39 players left, still 22 duos, so a little more action going on the mid game. As you can see, representative Issa and Camo's 8 elims right now. Super impressive, and there you go. Finally now into that last hour. 3rd time was the charm, 56 minutes remaining. And again, if you are just joining us and it's one of your first weekends watching, it is 3 hours or 10 matches. The semifinals were played yesterday, and the qualifying spots are in the top right. We have already seen the BES duo advance out of Oceania and the Trigger QQ duo from Vietnam take home the spot out of Asia. Which 4 will join them in Europe? And who do you got your eyes on, Shai?
For me, at the moment, I think that Shaw is just playing amazingly right now. I also think that there's going to be a lot of chances for Camo and Issa to pop off as well. They've been up and down in the leaderboards at the moment, but as we can see over here, these high elim games, if you get 1 or 2 pop-offs, you're right back into the running. There is only an hour left, but everyone's already experienced in playing their 10 games, knowing that, hey, if we're behind 2 or 3 games, we can play a little bit aggro here and then catch up with those big placement types of games later on. So hopefully these guys and their game plans work out. We'll see what's up right now. A little bit of a sneaky game coming in, a 4-gun loadout, which we don't see too much from Issa, with combats, ARs, drum guns, a very AR-heavy medium ammo loadout. Low people as well on mid at the moment. A lot of calmness. When there's not too many people in the server, you have these stalemate moments where a lot of people get to have a lot of information. Now, this is good for 2 reasons. One, the people who are boxing up know a lot of things about one another. But the bad part about it is that if everyone has information on everyone, there's so many more sightlines that get abused and used for eliminations left and right around the whole map.
Yeah, it's much harder to manufacture eliminations in this circumstance because everyone is used to playing. And it's kind of nuts that we've gotten to the point in Fortnite where 39 people in a 5th circle is like, oh yeah, you know, that's not that dense. You know, it's fine. You got some room to move around and work with. But like, Normally the reason people say play for late is because when you get so chaotic, if you are deliberate and you're able to get your rotation down, you will get opportunities to pick off other players. And you can see there just how aggressive these guys have been. 1,102 damage above the Storm Surge threshold. Again, that will turn off once we get down to 30 players. As you see the launch pad come out, no bonks there. Thought about challenging for height instead. Gonna go far side of the zone and box up and turn.
Camo now missing his partner, actually. They finally get together once again. He's going to be boxing up, waiting for any elims to happen. These guys have 8
went to shop to get a drink.
Snipes coming into onto the box as well in front of him. No follow-up, though, as it's not possible. These guys are on split layers, although that's very good for sightlines and different vantage points. Sometimes the synchronization can get desynchronized when you're not together with your duo partner.
Stay with your buddy. Particularly, it's week 10, come on. Like, how many times, like, unless your name is Mongrel, like, trying to just 1v2 the rest of the lobby generally hasn't worked out for a lot of players. And right now, Issa and Camo recognizing that, getting back together, still on 8 elims, and now they're going to try and kind of level out the loadout. Interesting to see him dropping the heavy sniper in favor of still running the double AR, but I'm Trash living up to his name there as Issa just blasts him with the combat shotgun. Can't poke there, can't challenge against one of the best players out of Europe, gets the conversion over, and we're closing in on that top 15.
Very, very smooth build over there to get right back up to his partner. But no, these guys are split now. Issa going on for a 1v1. Camo getting a nice low tier or low ground lockdown on his enemy. Max going down on 60 hertz. You got to up those hertz, but you guys see these people coming. Camo moving around. Issa popping off on his lair as well. These guys are owning the whole server, making sure everything's getting shredded down on numbers. Ash going down as well. The finish is coming out. These guys have collectively done so much damage. Drop-offs. It's chaos. Mods going down. What's happening over here, Sunday?
15 elims now. He just ran up to 15 elims, and notice how he's constantly checking his side. Can make it 16. Zaito goes down as well. Who says you need a teammate? He says, Mongrel, who? My name is Ghost Issa, and I'm here to make a play. Camo's in a box. What's in a box? It's the Ghost duo. They want to make it to New York City. They want to go together. One isn't enough as we're closing in on the top 10. 38 points so far, 17 elims. They're already on 22 points just from this match, but they will not stop yet. There's still chaos going on. Pushes forward. Jexy goes down. Trap gets armed right next to him, and they're into the top 10. Issa picks up another one on the high ground. They're on 19 now. He needs to circle back around and find the zone, and he finally does. Narshni goes down. Delay goes down. Top Boy goes down. Closing in on top 5, and he finds it. Jinsen goes down as well. 6 left.
Are their health bars working? They haven't taken any damage that's significant at all. Still both alive on separate. They're playing solos. Guys, you queued up for the wrong mode. What's going on? It's 9th circle, 8 people alive, both on separate layers. Still 3 stinks available for pressure, doing their own thing. Back-to-back intensive goes down. The workout's too much for him. Another sting going on height to help out his buddy. Issa on low HP. Camo, finally these guys are getting put in check. Issa taking stinks. 1 HP. He goes down. Can Camo clutch up? A mini coming up. The enemy pops in with a heavy sniper. Mark bringing down their big rain, but so many eliminations as we move on to the last 1v1. Alphin up with Mark going and bullying the last solo player left alive. Issa's
These are some
big
good
rain
players
going
here.
down. Camo also going down as well.
That's why they're going to qualify.
Shot. Intensive 8x finally going down as well. They secured the elim points. They secured the victory royale as well. But Camo and Issa, holy moly.
That was huge right there, but not to be understated. Alpha and Duo picking up 18 points right there, 8 elims and the victory royale. Zeke, that was nuts.
Sundown, that was absolutely insane. I mean, first of all, it's so awesome to hear Shai's voice and hear how incredible he is at casting. Let's just...
A great first cast. That was
great
beautiful.
First cast, especially in that game with Issa and Camo. Controller lords, with you got to think with another pop-out performance like that.
Yes.
They could be potentially contesting for a spot.
They could be the only full controller duo to qualify for a World Cup. It is the last chance for any of that to happen. So with games like that, Zeke, this is
just the start of the day, by the way. This is the first block of games. We have way more Fortnite, but for now, let's hang out with Bala. I know you pulled some clips for us to take a look at. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, I can explain. I can explain some clips here of what happened into those games. Tickle I mean, he's by himself. He's trying to clutch up, and everything was going wrong there. He ended up being placed underneath the stairs. His heavy snipe didn't get the wall. The turbo build came in, and then even here, getting the stairs placed, this duo was going to come out on top of him, but he's able to stay composed, get the elimination, and then another situation that was unexpected. Somebody lands right behind him, and he still managed to get away even with low HP. And when we looked at the leaderboards at the front, we saw all of these teams that were in this game here, Orc and Andalex on high ground. They use the chug splashes to recoup a little bit before, and Telek unfortunately gets a little antsy, jumps out, and that's going to be the end because both Andalex and Orc are looking down on top of him. Here, Osmo goes on a tear with his teammate Milan. And I mean, some of the things that they did here, this was really interesting to me because you used to run out in the storm and just tank the damage from the storm to get the loot. But in this case, he's using the chug splash to recover instantly. And then what a catch there from Osmo. We're gonna look at another team here, Provoked and Imagine, who are so close to qualifying week after week, especially last week 8. Provoked actually goes down on a waterfall there as somebody makes its way there. But this shot was disgusting. He didn't even actually get that elimination. He did a 112 to him to the face, but actually Jorge, who was up on high ground towards the end, managed to nag that from him. But then Osmo taking on both Carnifex and Harmy by himself. Back on Imagine though, as Osmo finally, because he doesn't have his shotgun reloaded, ends up going down. Imagine with the good attempt after we saw Provoked end up going down from fall damage, takes out Risk while in the storm, and then makes another storm play to kind of try to catch him by surprise, but it's not going to be enough. But it was so close, Zeke. This shot right here, and then look at this. He was so close. He already had his crosshair on his face, but no. Jorge is going to take the win just barely by milliseconds here, Zeke. This was so close.
Man, coming down there to the wire, man, this is just what Fortnite is, right? Like, everyone's going to give it their all. Everyone wants to qualify, and that's the kind of stuff we're seeing. Let's take a look at the leaderboard to see how things are shaking out currently. I can't even read.
Den Magisk, I don't know.
Den Magisk?
Magisk. I'm going to call him Magisk.
Magisk, great. And TTV, I'm the Beast. We know you. You've been hanging out here for a while. At the top still, though, 7 games remaining.
Yeah.
This is pretty substantial. 3 victory odds, right now 100% win rate.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That is ridiculous. I mean, 62 points. This might be flipped here. Games remaining versus matches played. Possibly Miss Benji, Fishy, and Mr. Savage. We've seen them week after week, and people are starting to, use that Fishy tag at the end of their name to get the good luck. But I mean, Wolfies and Rojo were up here earlier. They've got 57 points now. They dropped down from 1st to 4th. Skite and Vato, who are just barely, I think they got 9th place twice in a row in the duos week. So that's one of the French-speaking duos that have not yet made it. We saw the Solary guys go through before, and then some of these other guys as well, Andalex and Orc, we saw their win. And Dreda, who had the crazy performance in week 9. You guys watched it. Just unbelievable. So it's shaping up. I mean, I'm already seeing Skite and Vato. I'm starting to get excited because they start to play better as time goes on. And we just have all but time right now. It's running down, though.
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready to get back into these games. Bala, if you are as well, I think we're going to send it back over to Sundown and Shy. Gentlemen, back over to you and keep the action rolling.
Thank you so much, Zeke and Bala. All good, Shy, no worries. But I'm so excited. Like you said, we saw so many of those guys up on that top board. It's so incredibly dense. 52 players in this lobby, 28 duos remaining, and again, the 4 final spots. We're coming down to it right now. That line, because the Mr. Savage and Benji Fishy duo have already qualified, would be 54 points. 51 was on the bottom. 3 points separating everyone. That's how tall you have to be to ride the ride. And Storm Surge is on again, Shy.
The pressure's active in EU, and we are in pressure plant as well. The lava's hot. These skins look hotter. The guns look very nice as well with that new camo that's out in the shop as well. A lot of edits going up and around. Once again, Geysers up in play. A lot of free rotation, free shots being taken too. But a miss coming in from Speezy, very, very close to the opponent's head. Baller's getting shot down on Storm line. Once again, a very good position. A lot of people playing for pre-positioned advantage points and then milking those elims rather than getting them on the fly. The guys are being baited now. Can the beams come through? White HP on that opponent. His fly gets cut short. Jarkos going down now. Where's his duo partner? We don't know. His finish is going to be coming out now as these sweaty soccer skins, Alex and Speezy, are just going to be tearing up this low ground, making sure no one's allowed to be this tall for this EU ride on the northeast side of the map.
And you see them actually able to get into the mid-ground. Alec was the player from the Winter Royale who hadn't played competitive before, was just always in the arena duos, and said, hey, I'm pretty good at Fortnite, and through the open structure has now been in all of these end games. But Speezy now going to opt to tarp away. We'll see the conversion happen onto Alec, and now has to make some tough decision in terms of loot. Is going to drop the heavy snipe in favor of taking the Rift. Will he opt to fix anything else up? And you can see now he's trying to go back through and just make sure he gets every possible little bit he can.
In these solo spots, when you have to face up against other duos, those spam weapons are always vital. That choice of keeping the drum gun and the AR even on low ammo, Speezy knows at some point is going to be a desperate motion on the low ground or mid ground in terms of making sure that spam is up on opponents' builds. So very smart decision there as we tune into the Fnatic boys. Motor and Vrox going to be looking at their own loot at the bottom here. Have a Rift to go as well. Shadows available to get caught up after grabbing the Rift, but Motor misses out on those. Not sure if that'll affect him later on. Once again, there are a lot of geysers and a lot of ways to trickle down from height to stay on top of rotation, but that might be a big hit to their loadout and overall play this game.
Yeah, I really hope Vrox grabbed those, because honestly, Shadows are the most consistent in terms of the utility tool, being able to rotate. You have either top down or down up. You're able to rotate and get high ground if necessary and just make really clutch plays in a pinch. As you see, a lot of other people rotating the good old-fashioned way. It's Fortnite, the battle is building, and everyone is tarping up the side of pressure plate and trying to do damage because that Storm Surge is still active. You can see Motor and Vrox about 9 points off that pace right now to be in the top 10, 12 points off qualification pace. What can they do to get themselves closer? There they are. There are the Shadows we saw earlier. Will he be able to grab them? Is that another misgrab coming out from Motor? And we talked about the clutch and the pressure being on. Now actually misses himself in one of the chug splashes too, but doesn't matter. Call him an action hero as he slides down the side of the volcano and finds the Elim.
Very smart loop balance from those duos as well. Vrox goes down, but he did have a slurp ticking while he let Motor play with those chug splashes. You know, it's easy to have a very efficient chug splash in duos, but on rotation, it's very hard to hit you and your partner. So very smart decisions there. Motor has to be smarter now in a 1v2 situation, using all his mats, around 800 left now as people go down left and right. 26 people left alive, 18 duos, no placement yet. Once again, 7th zone and a lot of pressure coming down on Motor. His shield getting knocked down, still has those chug splashes to use on the move, making sure that zone damage is not a problem. Shields, not a problem, as he gets all the way back up to 100 HP. Once again, his early game was amazing. Get those guns out, but his life goes down as well to Bodike.
And he misses the top 15, so no placement points there. Vato and Sky are going to be happy about that, as Vato is still in the lobby. You have Ibu High now with the combat and the flint still rolling around in the ball, and Proxima Star, who was in the top 3, also picking it up there. And Proxima Star being the player who's been around forever, since like the original Summer Skirmish. So good to see his name back up there as Flabo picks up Wraith's Guard, and we're closing in on the top 10. Buhai trying to find a decent amount of space there in the middle, but somebody is way up on Ultimate High as we're rotating around. Zeke gets blasted by Flavo in the back. Will the Elim come through? No, he's able to find the zone, but not able to pop it off, as now all of a sudden Old Man Mountain, 1-2 players up top. This is when you wish you had Shadow Bombs. Matsu and Ibu High on the mid ground. Ibu High gets that, but Proxima Star and his teammate just get to rain down shots on the rest of the lobby. Ibu High trying to find some space to exist, but he's going to have to go back over now into the plant. There's only Ibu High in a 1v2, and that's not going to be enough. Fury Legend and Proxima Star going to close that one out. 6 Elims and the victory round. That's how they were at 57 points. That's what got them up there, and hopefully they can keep on that pace to qualify.
They ended that game so fast, still had 9 impulses and 2 smoke grenades left at the end, but they decided to just give the lobby a whole haircut as we move in. Once again, the same zone. Geysers going up once again. A lot of launch pads can be saved on this 5th zone rotation. A lot of mats can just be saved as well when you're up in the air, not taking too many shots and basing up, going for these big vantage points as well. Benji Fishy now, the inspiration for a lot of duos in the EU region, getting their name switched for that good, sweet luck in terms of qualifying. He's getting checked on his edit, getting a little bit too close there, giving his fish hat a little bit of a haircut. A lot of heals being used on that as well could be a mistake that proves fatal at the end of the game.
And one thing I do like, though, is with how many more shields there have been in the games, is players are taking more risks. They're poking out more. They're looking for more trades. They're willing to go take fights because it's like, hey, if we don't get everything here, it's not the end of the game. As Ricolas finds a great double snipe onto him, that's what we talk about, always making sure you cover 2 layers. So what are they going to do? They're going to disengage down and over 1 layer and make sure they're boxed up. They are already very close to the safe zone, not quite in it, so we'll need to rotate just slightly over, but have the guys who are there to do it. I mean, this lobby's stacked. You see Crew, Nairo, Milan, Osmo, Chapik, Snowda, like, jeez.
We get in these last 4 games, and the games only get bigger with better players over and over. Aqua in here with Nyrox as well. We're going to be tuning into their super dope position up top on this hill. Going to be cutting off a lot of people rotating from mid-ground. They're going to just have to rotate early, though. They're not in zone just yet, dropping just a few layers, but every layer you do drop, that's a box saved on mats. So moving diagonally this way is very smart, but also risky because you have a little bit less of protection from front. You just saw there Nyrox trying to get double sniped off of his position, but is dynamic in his box, saves that up. Utility now getting split from each duo, making sure each person has a nice exit plan in case that fire alarm sounds in their game and stuff hits the fan. Nyrox going to be looking out, up and around for any vantage points. 5th circle to 6th is that kind of stalemate time where you can look for picks. He gets a nice 33 damage shot on a duo moving down bottom. Aqua looking through his pyramid, looking for any information up on the map as well.
Yeah, and they're just trying to chill. They're just trying to hang out right now, doing everything they can to keep whatever amount of space and to get over on the far side of the zone right away. And that's one thing we've talked about a number of times. When these moving zones come in and you have utility, you want to pop it, get far side, box up, and then turn and see the rest of the lobby. Here's a prime example of it. That's white damage. Going to follow it up right away with the stink grenade. You don't get away from that. He's going to continue pouring down the pressure, and that is Blood X of E11 going down on the side. Brilliantly done, but can they convert onto it? The Storm will move past it, so they want to go over and try and get whatever mats as well as that siphon on it.
Once again, EU is so good at just using their utility and following up with the shots. Nyrox now going down, unfortunately, could not cover his head up top. Very still smart plays there, playing off of his thing, saving that last one until he had damage rather than just using it for an impact in the game. Always make sure you're milking the most out of the stuff you have in your inventory. Benji now still alive with Savage, looking for a reload while the wall goes down. Very unfortunate there. That small mag size of the infantry rifle proving to be fatal in terms of getting that elimination point. Benji and Savage now in the same box, getting caught up in a big community rift. Chapik's going down, getting knocked all the way. Not sure in the rift or beforehand. That Elam coming through, though, that shield will go back up once that server starts moving and the Storm goes over that downed enemy.
So he actually got knocked because that was the shot that he hit right before on him. That was the 87 tick. The Storm ended up then ticking him over and then getting it. That was that extension where it's a minute after you've damaged someone. But we have our top 15, so 3 placement points going out to everyone. The Fishies getting those as well, so on 5 points so far from this match. And also still 2 Shadow Bombs with a lot of mats, so they're going to be able to play for late as Andretta gets picked up. So did get the top 3 points going there from top 15, but not anything more there. Majin and Provoked on the mid tarp. You see I'm the Beast and Magisk posts on the high ground above him. Takeoffs just below. Zappy and Red Rush, another duo who have already qualified, just below. Anonymous 27, not to be confused with Anonymous 72. Just below Dementos here as he's tarping towards the side, trying to make it into the top 10.
A lot of mid-ground tarps coming out now. The zone will start moving in more awkward ways. A little bit of time for Dementos at the moment to see if he can put pressure down up top or down below. Putting vertical pressure upwards as a mid-ground tarper is very, very hard. His duo is down, but does have 6 eliminations. Pay over there. These guys have 8 in total. Looks like it's going to be 9 now, unless, no, it was just a finish on Dementos. He's going to be going over on his tarp once again.
But it got him into the top 10, so it's fine that it wasn't his conversion because he still gets 2 points going there from knocking that team out right as the teammate went over. Now Dementos trying to find some room. So far they have gotten 13 points from this match, but they need to pick up the pace there. We saw the top duo was on 60 plus, being up 44. Needs every possible points as 27 picks up Trox. Dementos still trying to tarp over, edits himself back in, finds an angle, but immediately gets cut off. Provoked finds the conversion onto 27, and Dementos is just gonna chill, popping that utility. And again, we've talked about it, just so many more risks and time you get there. As now he's gonna drop down, start to get to us. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shots. Can he find it? 4. finally gets it after using 6 of the 10 combat shots there, but stops provoked and gets him into the top 5. That could have end up being huge, but Pulse and I'm the Beast working top down right now. Look at the chaos on the low ground. Tohaj being picked up by Benji Fishy, and Evade ADDZ adds, closing him out there. Another player who has played in the skirmishes before. Beast trying to find whatever space he can. Dementos blowing up adds there, as now it's a 1v2. Dementos Dementos tried to get back in the zone, but Magic Pulse brilliantly done, so well executed, and that is why they're on the top, sitting up there currently with the 62 points.
What a close match going right down to the wire. One more shot is all he needed there, but it was not possible, did not connect. The duo does hold it down. Once again, this pattern, very, very smart solo play there, making sure he can pick up all the eliminations before the game ends, even though it's a 1v2 spot right here. Now we got Nauka and MXR, who are both chilling in their big base. Looks like next to Stormline as well, one of the best positions you can be in. Very, very nice loadout there for them as well. They've got their long-range beam, the follow-up with the drum as well, and that crucial combat shotgun, which did get nerfed a little bit on this patch, but it's still the fire rate and that swap delay coming off allows you to make so many cool plays. They both are sitting on 0 eliminations at the moment, so they must make this effort to catch up near the end of the game.
Yeah, and just one thing in terms of the combat shotgun change, I feel like it's kind of mitigated just because of the removal of the shotgun timer. It ends up allowing you to kind of do, a lot of people call it the TPU Classic, where you're ramping out and you're able to effectively tarp and shoot at the same time with very minimal amount of exposure. And I think it sort of makes up for the slight change in the range in terms of the tiles and how much damage it does. So the combat's still being very, very, very strong in the current meta, but you can see MXR being able to push in, trying to find the conversion. Is some pressure from above and just goes for it. Gianni Jr. showing why he's not Gianni Sr. being taken down there outside the top 20. No placement points for you and a lot of time wasted in that lobby.
Just a dope reaction there to look up and then look straight up or straight ahead of himself. MXR just carrying that fight right there. Yuntos and Ryu now getting focused by the whole server. Very unfortunate when this happens. Stink's coming down as well, so that's going to be a very, very hard situation to get out of. Ryu now going down. Haiko getting his 3rd elimination, putting him and Ono Kill together on the same or on 4 eliminations there, making sure their points get counted up. 35 points total at the moment. That placement point's going to be coming in, and 4 more duos coming down. 35 people left alive, so that zone surge will also be an option as well.
Yeah, and that was a high-value stink. And that's one thing you talk about, you know, it feels really unfortunate when you're getting focused by the whole server, but the reason you're getting focused by the whole server is because you're in an obvious 1x1 that was just rebuilt without priority on the next zone. If everyone is going to focus you, it's much easier to just pile in. You can hear the Rift go off left eye, trying to hit it, trying to do everything he can. Will end up finding it there. Storm Surge is active as we have 18 duos left and 34 players, so pretty much everyone has a buddy with them.
And then, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a stacked team-based endgame at the moment. A lot of 4-gun loadouts also coming in together right now. Dan Zizzle going down on Shadow Nades. A lot of multiple high ground tarps. A lot of them go down. Cazorla is going to be up top. 1 Shadow Nade left on Haiko at the moment. Andre going down from Cazorla's high ground pick. He gets finished off. Haiko gets that big reward off of it. The mats, the utility campfires as well for the end game. Pickaxe is coming full swing, making sure every wall is theirs before they set on the next move. Not quite in zone yet, but that tunnel will be very, very proficient. We're talking about those combat changes as well before. That also changes the range of engagement, as now we have more ARs. The style of the game and how it actually flows as more people are basing up to shoot rather than shooting on the fly if they're not going to be able to box fight. fight changes the way people move around the map as well.
And it kind of has given a little bit of a resurgence, what we've seen so far, to the drum gun. It allows the drum gun to have a little bit more of that mid-range feel to it, to where it is going to out-prioritize the combat shotgun, whereas before the drum gun very much so got forced out in terms of effectiveness as we hit our top 15. So 3 points going over from everyone, because why run a drum gun when you can have an FSA rifle and then the combat? But now there really is kind of a space that's between, like, it's closer to like 4 to 9 tiles where the drum gun just shreds. And even now you can see, boom, tac AR, turn about face, 2 elims right there for Johnny Boy and Kazrola. Brilliantly done. Once those will end up tick over, they do have the top 15 as well, as Dance Hizzle gets forced out of the lobby. Proxima Star also gets down and everyone gets pulled up into the sky. We're closing in. Boom, top 10 next placement threshold.
6 Chug Splashes still left. We haven't seen them use to their full potential just yet in these endgame storm heal-off scenarios. Proxima Star not going down, the high ground star of the last few games that we saw. A lot of wood builds means that these spam weapons are going to pack a wallop, as Johnny Boy gets another knockoff on Ibuhai, the baller player we saw from the other game as well. These rapscallions being sneaky, moving around in brick, metal, and wood. A lot of these big mats now finally coming out, making sure that spam gets stopped down, but more pressure vertically being put down as layer switches come down from their opponents as well. Johnny Boy getting that pickup, maybe not the elimination there, as Onokill also gets another one on top.
Yeah, and it was a really good try from Janus there to disengage, dropping back down, but unfortunately was spotted. But Team Queso lighting up the top left as Zohan was able to find 3 elims, make it a 4th, as the Spaniards are just fragging their way almost into the top 5. But now Kazrola doing everything he can on the side of the zone. Johnny Boy is still up as well. Great 130 shot in the immediate replace. Kind of upset he didn't try and follow it up right away, but he does. That was Fury Legend. Proxima Stars duo is going to get taken out and outside of the top 5. So that's 2 points is leaving down there. 1 Chug Splash is tossed out there as we're closing in. 9 players left, 6 duos remaining, Shy.
Yayas has all the pressure on him now to get that last placement spot. He is low on HP, but it is kind of free for that. Once again, it goes through 4 duos left now. MXR still alive. His dual partner as well is going to be a big fight on the low ground, and one person confirming things from the high ground. Low ground, though, we do have almost 11 Chug Splashes available as these boxes get bursted into. Onokill going down to MXR. Another quick flick. Yayas going down. He tried to come off from high ground. Maybe he ran out of mats, but nothing worked out for him there. A 4-gun loadout. That heavy sniper still being available. Priority reload on it as well. 3 duos left. Looks like Nauka is down at the moment. MXR moving up on the highest priority ground right now. There might be someone higher than him actually at the moment. Heiko and Johnny Boy on the bottom as well with Kazorla. We'll see what they can do. MXR is going to be controlling this fight at the moment. Heiko, these Chug Splashes coming down from Johnny Boy and Kazorla. They have so many to use amongst themselves. They're finally going to run out. They're going to be a little bit late on the storm. Heiko going down. Johnny Boy and Kazorla are going to be fighting it out against each other as well. MXR is going to be pressured from the top. Johnny Boy goes down. Kazorla now has to avenge his dual partner and see what can be done here. Both people taking storm kicks. MXR coming down, but the heavy sniper is not enough as Kazorla wins that game out all the way, tarping in from that low ground position, making sure he pops off at the right moment, making the best decisions possible, clutching out that game for his dual partner.
It was all about the Chug Splashes. You called it early, but he went, he hung out on the low ground, and even though he got the siphon, EMXR was not able to close out the match just because he held zone, had the Chug Splashes, and had everything he needed. And that's something, again, a new mechanic. You can throw it, you can use it on your teammate, but because it's instantaneous HP, it changes what has now kind of been something that's been really solid in the meta for a long time. When you get to endgame, you know, hey, like if a person has a campfire plus bandages, I can do this. Or if I take 1 tick, I can get a med kit out. Or hey, if I get a siphon under 50 HP, like I'm guaranteed to close this match out. But it's just not enough. And now we're going to throw it back into the studio to Zeke.
Thank you guys so much, man. European action just never disappoints. Again, Sanan describing the Chug Splash recent edition. I think there's still more to this we haven't seen. I think players are still kind of developing strategies with it, and I want to see how they continue to improve upon using that splash. Now, of course, guys, before we go to break, let's take a look at the standings together. Let's get a sense of where things are, because we're moving into this final block of games. Right now, as it stands, the Lestream duo of Skite and Vato are sitting in that #1 spot. Now, you have talked about this, all right? You said these guys have been edged out several times, and the most recent time was to the Solary entire squad.
Yep.
You got to think they want revenge, right? They want in.
Yeah, in week 6, it was Hunter, Kinstar, and Erwachsenikov. And then in week 8, it was, of course, Hunter and Kinstar again.
Yep.
But, I mean, 2 duos weeks in a row, they got 9th place. Finally, Skite had some success in week 9 in the solos, so it seems that that success is carrying through here. They have 3 games remaining, 65 points, and this is just awesome there. Of course, we look down the list as well. Y and TJ, they've been through, the entire 10 weeks. We've been following slightly. They're almost pushing up there, and of course, Y had some pop-off performances beforehand the World Cup even started, and then we watch Magisk and I'm the Beast. Their performance there, we haven't seen too much of a movement here yet in that score, right? 62 points is where we left them off in that game, and they're still obviously probably playing. We'll see if that updates, if they move back into that first place. And then moving down the list, basically, so we have Wolfies and Rojo, they keep moving down and slowly going down. So there is 4 spots up for grabs. And something that's different though, no Stompy and Shinken, no Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage, they're down here right now, but they're not taking up these spots. So it is the top 4 that are going to be going through, and since queues are about to close, we're about to start getting into those final matches. This is looking like these guys right now are punching their ticket.
Well, what's scary too is striking distance from 10 to first is only 7 points. It's only 7 points. A straight up victory route is going to get you that 10-point threshold. If one elimination along the way, from 10th, you're jumping into contest number 1. So we'll have to see how things unfold. But for now, Fortnite fam, we are going to go to a short break. Get up, stretch legs. Come right back, though, because we have more Fortnite action after this.
Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums.
Burgers from dirt to munch.
Tacos Royale with brunch. Red juicy's a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums.
All right, Fortnite fam, we're here for week 9 of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open qualifiers. And just like this Cuddle team leader, we are very excited to be here. The final week of solo competition. Hopefully these players can take a bite out of the competition and really keep it top notch. Codename Elf. Guys, are you ready for week 9, the finals day?
Ready for week 9, baby.
Man,
I just had a whole bag of cookies.
A whole bag of cookies.
He's the yes man.
I'm so happy I don't have to be near Zeke for much longer.
We got some qualification. We got a dancing banana too. I want to see Zeke wear that at some point during the World Cup.
Fortnite fam, you guys know I love it when you use that hashtag Fortnite World Cup. We actually have a social producer that helps sift through all the tweets and all the incredible things you guys send us, and his name is Nick Brown.
All right, guys, my name is Nick Brown, and for the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers, I've been working as a social producer. So basically, every time any of the casters say use the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, I'm the one who plays defense to make sure that none of those cheeky tweets with bad words end up on the big screen.
All right, Courage, let's go to the kitchen. Let's get ourselves some food.
What we got? Some garlic bread. Is that chicken parmesan? Oh my God, it's chicken parm! Yes! You okay? Do I need to put this one back? Bro, they put garlic bread in front of me. You think I'm not gonna get 3 pieces? Come on.
What's up, Fortnite fam? It's Squints here, and recently we've been trying to level up the observing, so we challenge our observers to get cool dynamic shots and keep them smooth and technically awesome. And let's share some of our favorite shots with you guys.
I can't imagine the weight that these competitors must feel on their shoulders.
Whoa, okay.
Wow.
Seems like the observers are having a little bit of a competition back there.
All right, observers, let's get it.
And then tried to challenge those fights, and that just freaked me out.
What? Speaking about something freaky.
There is Nick just above Chap's foot. Because apparently that's someone's name in Fortnite.
You don't know about that, Jack?
No.
I mean, you really need to step up your competitive Fortnite knowledge. It's okay though. It's Chap's foot. Like physically, he plays.
I hate you.
What's up? It's Monster D-Face.
What's up?
Yo, Monster. You know you're my favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I told you you were my favorite, would you believe me?
Probably not. We all know Sundown's his favorite, guys. That's why, dude. Right there. Right there.
What?
Dude, it messes me up.
You know, a lot of people ask me what the best part about replay is. It's got to be working next to GFX Becca.
People ask me all the time what the best part about being a graphics operator is.
Someone here specifically that keeps the ball rolling no matter what happens. And his name is Jordan.
What's up, Fortnite fam? My name's Jordan, and I am the production manager on the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. My job includes making sure the production happens smoothly, handling staffing, catering, any technical issues that may arise, making sure everyone else is doing their job.
He's really good at stuff.
We're on a break, and Jeff is going for the high score.
Oh my God.
That's really special.
And he has the
Not for you.
To rain him down. I don't know if he realizes it's completely uncontested. But
It's over. Week 9 is done. Goodbye.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to week 10 of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open qualifiers. My name is Pookie Face. We've gotten into a little bit of the European action. We're playing duos today. I know I'm excited to see how everyone fares. We only have a few more spots left in New York at the end of July. So without further ado, I want to get into more games, but in order to do that, I need some casters. I got Zeke. I got Bala. Boys, take it away.
Thanks so much, Pookie. We are here. Can't stress this enough. This is the final week. This is it, week 10, final opportunity, the final chance for players to earn a spot in the World Cup Finals in New York City. It cannot be more stressful than this.
No, it can't. There's only 4 spots up for grabs in the EU, and we're already seeing the story shape up. Skyt and Vato might be making that last-second clutch into New York City. But let's get into action because we have to figure out who is going to be left standing when the dust is all settled. So let's get into games.
Here we go. The first game of the block. So don't forget, those queue times, very, very close to being all wrapped up. Then we're going to have a little bit of extra time to just make sure everyone gets all their games through and completed. Don't forget it's 3-hour window or 10 matches, whichever comes first. Hopping on here with Kiklos, ZQ and his partner, Swats. 4 elimination between them. 41 players remain in the current lobby with 22 duos still left. Look at this circle right now.
Yeah, it's going over that entire ravine there, the bridge in the middle. So kind of a little bit of a treacherous path, but I can already see, just based on the stances of some of these players are taking, they're ready to hop over with the launch pads or shadow bombs or whatever they might be using, and to get in that half in, half out, which is positioned right on that big hill with the, you know, the tree of life, as I call it.
Yeah, that's one that I've taken. I used to call it big tree, then I was like, no, tree of life makes sense. But if you're watching the bottom right, you see all the triangles. They're already converging on the new safe zone. Nyrok's gonna get ripped out of the air immediately. That is another elimination, and Swats confirms it there. 5 between the duo now, and this is huge. Now keep in mind, they're pretty separated, but I mean, Kiklos is in the baller, so he can kind of navigate as he needs to.
Yeah, but separation is, you know, what actually caused that elimination to go down onto Nyrok's Aqua.
Oh, the baller.
Oh, no.
Well,
that is so sad to see. Just like he took out Aqua, he actually blew up his launch pad right before he managed to get on it. So Aqua going a little bit too fast, but here he's going a little bit too fast for his baller. And again, split from his teammate, just like he said, Zeke. Is he going to be able to find anything from here on this low ground position? A little bit tough.
You know, trying to divide and conquer, I mean, it can work for you, right? Like, if you've got the confidence, you've got the skill, you can absolutely make it work, but look how far away diagonally he is right now. I mean, you got to think this is the top 1%, right? Don't forget the top 3,000 or 1,500 duos from the region move on to finals. Maybe you'll catch some people off guard, but for the large part, you're not going to catch many like incredible players off guard with that kind of tactic, right? Like they're going to be looking, they're waiting. Like someone's going to do something cheeky here. I just feel it. 44.88. Oh my God. Okay, listen, ref's guard. Well, all right, I was going to say pull off another shot. He just beat me to the punch. He's like, Zeke, I got you, don't worry.
Infantry rifle being used right through the window. So strong at putting out those high damage numbers right away, taking down that duo, and actually going to manage to snag the loot as well. Meanwhile, on the rest of the server, I did see Boyer and Crippa. I saw Dementos in the lobby, so Boyer and Crippa, one of those teams that a lot of people were looking forward to, qualify for New York, but not have yet having those performances in this lobby. We'll see what they're able to do. Obviously, Hack's guard and Ref's guard are Hack's core, sorry, are way on their way towards that top of the leaderboard, but the RPG coming in.
So I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Crippa was actually picked up, and I think Boyer's by himself. Once we can take a look at the high and wide shots here and establish things, we'll get a better sense. But right now, rotations need to begin happening. Shadow bombs are being popped, and look at this. They try and reposition here with Ref's guard. That's good. Team is back together, and the chug splashes. Thank you, teammate. And it comes out. Didn't catch it. The player drops down to 76 over on. There you go. Sigma has been eliminated, going back to the lobby.
And that is exactly how you want to place the traps. When you drop somebody into the box, make sure you place it on that front wall or the roof, and then you can rotate the stairs accordingly, but they have no chance of escaping from the left or the right when you place it in that fashion. Great reaction there from Hack's core and Ref's guard, and we're going to stay on them.
First round of placement points coming out. Right now, they have 3 eliminations, which in and of itself is huge. There you see Boyer goes down, has been eliminated, even Alliance Powder as well. And this lobby is just going to continue to thin out. Edgerkill going to be picked off as well by Pappy, and this just continues. Benji Fishy is also in the lobby as well. He's going to pick up Mav Joe. And right now, I mean, if you're Ref's guard and you're Hack's core, you're probably thinking like, I'm watching the elimination feed. I know these Titans are in here. What are we looking to do, right? You've already got the first round of placement points. You're about to hit the next round. Do you think they just go full send, try to find eliminations, maybe play it a little bit slower? Oh my God! Please. Oh God.
I was going to say that's what they're doing right now, but that's definitely going to put them on the back foot. The flint knock is actually going to knock him back into the zone. He used all the chug splashes, so that's not going to be useful to get back in, but Hack's core still up. They did take out Benji, which was the player that RPG'd them, trying to cause them a little bit of chaos and panic, but still alive, still rocking down on this low ground. This is where they've been staying the entire time, and so impactful down here, Zeke.
Look at the lobby now. 6 players remain, all of which are solo riders. No one's got a buddy. Themo here, he's going to find one over on Josa there and find an immediate elimination. Top 5. Another round of placements for everyone in the lobby.
Yeah, but only on wood. These players that are finding down below are not covering their top. He's going to find one. Can he find another? Not just yet. He does have that flint knock if he does need to get back up. But again, no materials, it looks like, or they're playing very sparse with them. Now using that flint knock to get down onto the height that he needs to so he doesn't take any fall damage, no risk, but another player trying to get up over the hill, and unfortunately Hack's core is left below, but the storm is playing with his favor right now. He's going to be able to get up.
Look at this. Themo's got high ground advantage right now. Hack's core low on HP. And Vic here, he's got, oh, just kidding. I was going to say HP advantage, but it doesn't matter. Hack's core evens the odds. And now Themo has that high ground control. Hack's core's got to do something, but a huge shot comes back over. And this is Themo's game to win 4 eliminations between the duo. Victory Royale, a 13-point game.
Yeah, and they tied, actually, in terms of points with Hack's core and Ref guard. So a valiant effort there from low ground. We saw them completely, stuck down there, no opportunities to get out, but making do with what they get. So they push themselves up to over 60 points now, and that is definitely something that you want to be at moving into these last games. The queues are definitely about to close.
There we go. We got another game, of course, more Fortnite action to be had near Happy Hamlet right now. Storm Circle 5. Don't forget, if you're new to Fortnite, the way we've been running the qualifiers, we hop into the Storm Circle 4, 5, sometimes even 6, getting right in the action, skipping past the looting, the drops, all of it, jumping right into all of the action to be had. I think we should probably refresh people on the format just in case they're tuning in for the first time. So guys, don't forget every single elimination is a point. Top 15, 10, 5 in the victory hour, all the placement thresholds. Look at this. Cubs is just finding elims.
Perfect. That's exactly what you need to do. When you're on the edge of the zones, you have options to get in. He has those shadow bombs if he wants to use them, but you obviously don't want to use all your mobility early. You only have 2 of those, so he forces out the launch pad from the team nearby. If that did not work, he still has the option to go ahead and use those shadow bombs, so doesn't have to worry about that rotation. And honestly, getting a bit of luck based on the players who are coming in, but sometimes you just force it out.
That's right, man. This lobby.
You also have to be careful because that's 2 more angles that they can use.
Right.
In that situation being box to box, face to face, 1 wall in between each other, and the stairs there kind of rotated the awkward way. Very difficult to kind of escape from that if they do manage to get that wall, if they do manage to get an angle on you. So deciding to back off, probably the healthy decision, especially as zone 6 starts to move.
We saw Jorts here drop a few, potentially 1 shadow bomb for his duo partner ever. And here we go, they're immediately popped. The rotations are gonna come out, but again, this is a very dense lobby. 33 players currently remain, 19 of them being duo partners. They need to find more, you know, you gotta think, obviously you wanna try and make placement, that's huge, but every extra elimination is gonna make the difference on impacting that leaderboard. And I'm sure this is things they're thinking about, right? I'm just thinking aloud right now. Oh, perfect. Castery gets traded out there, trying to make a late rotation. Not today, friend, not today.
What we saw earlier, I mean, they're only at 35 points in this game, but we saw Camo and Issa with that crazy performance to try to push them up in the leaderboards. They weren't in the top 10 last we looked, but, you know, those performances are the one that really push you, not just 1, 2 spaces, but really 5, 10, 20 even in some cases.
That's right, and look up top, FaZe, Vorwin, and Atlantis Tux. They've got themselves the high ground advantage, which is huge. It's going to make a difference. Look at this. Someone trying to challenge, and immediately they say, we need to bail out. This is not the strategy. And Razny gets shredded like shooting fish in a barrel, comes right out of the sky, and the elimination is confirmed.
And this is even with the changes to the combat shotgun, the effectiveness at range getting dropped a little bit, but Warwin not doing anything, not worried about it at all. But here, Tux is going to be fighting for height. I think Warwin, his teammate, needs to start pressuring and stop this. But oh my goodness, what a shot up above the builds. Tux is going to find that elimination just there. Sloopy not going to find a height. Still going to be on Tux and Vorwin. Advantage to them.
Crack a ball right out in front. He drops the player and gets some blue damage numbers. Remember, that's on shield. If it's white damage numbers, they've got no shield. Tuck's gonna soak. Poseidon. Juve just gets ripped as well. People are just being picked off left and right. More shots.
I mean, at a certain point, Zeke, it's, do I even want to glide up there? But hold on, because somebody does go into zone and make a play for height, and that's going to be the signal for Tux and Vorwin to drop down. But as he says that, he's got a partner in crime going down. Nepsi cannot go parallel to Tux. Vorwin still has it, though.
This is huge, too, because he didn't have many builds, and that Elim gave him a ton, so now he can actually go try and meet back up with Vorwin, see how things are going. And, I mean, Tux and Vorwin, they're playing out of their minds right now, but look at everyone down below. So you got a few people in ballers. Gafal was on lethal HP. So many people in that mid-ground tarp that are now engaging Fremont and his dual partner. 9 eliminations between them. They just hit top 10. 2 rounds of placement points. What in the world? A 14-point game, a 15-point game.
Yeah, and we just talked about Camo and Issa's performance, and Fremont and Kong right now making their way towards one of those. That will push them up the leaderboards. They're at 66 right now, and maybe making a case for them to go to New York. Fremont and Kong, a little bit of a break right here. They're going to drop those turrets out, make sure that that's not going to be in the trap rotation. He's going to get it. The trap doesn't go. Oh, yes, he did go in, but not going to manage to do it. Finds Rasco regardless. And now his teammate as well. He actually finds Kubex too as they drop down all together, but it's now only Fremont. And look at this gaggle of players down below. I don't know if they're going to be able to all survive. Right now, Fremont does go down, and it's now Tux and Vorwin against Edwin on his own. Tux goes down and already finds the shots, and that's going to be the victory royale for Tux and Vorwin.
They played that so well, right? Like, they just waited. They knew, and especially 8 eliminations. An 18-point game, this is massive. This also, we saw the other duo was at 62 points. They're now at 66, so you got to think they're contesting for at least top 5, but for them to realize, like, look, everyone's down below. They're all fighting on that low ground tarp. Let's just hang out in the sky. Let's just do what we do best, wait this out, and, of course, everyone, like fish in a barrel, comes to them. But look at this. Stompy and Shinken here, the little thin pancake. Who belongs in my heart forever. I mean, these guys, I don't know what else I could say about these guys. Like, the fact that they've been on top of the leaderboards weeks in a row, you've got to think this is a favorite going into Fortnite World Cup Finals. You have to.
I think, I'm looking at everybody using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup and all the predictions going in for New York, all the different personalities starting to make their opinions known. Everybody is putting Stompy and Shinken way up there, if not first and second, because they are dominating week after week, and I think we are in for a treat in this game because they're getting close and they're in the end game, and this is honestly, I think this might be the first time we've seen them. And you know what they do in end game, Zeke. It is crazy clinical Fortnite.
They absolutely terrorize the lobby. They just, everything they do is about how can they get an edge up, and then they make sure they're almost like squeezing the life out of you very slowly, right? Suffocating is like the word my mind went to, but it's kind of just like they're bringing the wall.
It is that.
It is that, right?
Because like when they do find an opportunity, they pounce so hard and so fast, and you have no time to react, and they just come from multiple angles, just like this. Stompy from above, Shinken on the bottom, and he already takes down 1 carries exactly. You see Shinken switching to him right now. He actually can get right behind him, and he finds it, but does now need to make sure that nobody is going to take advantage of the fact that Stompy is down. You can see immediately editing him down all the way because he needs to change positions. Everybody knows they just got an elimination in that box. And I think Freddy and Snagged right here are going to see if they can take advantage here. They're definitely getting the loot, so maybe that's enough for them.
I think they're going to get the revive off. And don't forget, Shinken actually has a Chug Jug in inventory. So he's going to be completely okay. He passes it over to Stompy. This is good. Now they have to have the 15 seconds. This is where things could get a little crazy, right? Because we saw the duo up above. If they decide to challenge, Stompy is not in fighting condition right now.
A note there that Stompy went so far away from where that initial fighting was and goes all the way to the farthest spot, not only for the zone, but also for anybody trying to find out where you are. And here comes the launch pad from Stompy. They're going to move ahead. Ooh, a nice little short launch there by accident even, but I'll take it if I'm Stompy.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate your point, these guys are playing at the highest level possible, right? They know what a Chug Jug sounds like. Those sound cues are so very distinct. If you're sitting in a box and you hear that sound down below, you're like, we're going down, let's make some edits, someone's on critical, we're gonna take him out, and that's why he moved so far away, to make sure no one knew what was going on. So huge. 23 duos left, 39 players. Right now they're making a rotation. You've got people out in front, which is good, and they're still staying close by, which is really gonna maximize their efficiency here. A lot of people going down in the lobby as well.
I think staying close by is something we're actually not really used to seeing from Stompy and Shinken. We see them trying to take over the lobby and get as many opportunities as possible, but what is that from Stompy? I mean, but one of the things that is very important here to note is their mobility is starting to look scarce. All that we see on Stompy right now is that glider play. They already used their shadow bombs, the launch pads, because of the position they were put in. They couldn't rotate early. So here, staying together, making, oh my goodness, he found
got a rift.
As I say that, the rift to go, the almost most valuable item at this point in the game, because not only are people rotating in the congested zones, but they're not looking up because that first portion of the movement, everybody is looking to see where do I need to go next.
And they've got a great bird's eye view, right? They're slowly descending on. You've got Alpha there going to drop down, but look, so now they're going to make the decision. We have to contest.
Oh, they knocked out.
Someone just brought the entire structure down. It depends on what they decide to do. Look at Stompy. He's already trying to contest for the high ground, and Shinken had to stop for just a moment to get that mini off. He's got the shadow bomb, but I don't think he wants to use this right now. He gets cracked from behind. The slurp is still ticking right now. He's just got to get himself into safety. He doesn't have any other utility baller, like a campfire, that would help him right now.
Yeah, but possibly Stompy does, and he's right on top of him now. So great you know, staying together. They're glued to each other, almost in another elimination. First finding it before moving out. He gets stuck in the cone, but he's got to cover himself first. Does end up going down the zone. So perfect play here from Shinken, and he's moving forward. And they did get in the top 15 just now as well with those 2 eliminations.
And just the way that Shinken is like fluidly chaining eliminations back to back. And remember, if you don't finish that player off, there's a little bit of time before that siphon comes through. There's a player in the box. It doesn't even matter. Nevi gets shut down. They're on 11 eliminations right now. They're about to hit top 10. Bala, they're playing out of their freaking minds.
Nebi, one of those players who was towards the top, him and his teammate from Evade, and getting shut down here from Stompy and Shinken, 2 people who have already qualified, who are not playing for qualification spots, but playing for keeps. Right now, they're showing off why they should be at the top of the leaderboard, and we just talked about it. We were like, where's Stompy and Shinken? Because there's nobody who's qualified at the top of the leaderboard like we're used to seeing, but maybe after this game, things are gonna change, but the Heavy Snipey coming in. Heavy Snipey?
Snipey, yeah, absolutely. Snipey coming through. Now, don't forget, they're also at 66 points. We've seen 3 duos now with that point value. And look at this, Stompy's got to chain together these eliminations. Shinken is down, but it's okay. Stompy's been in positions like this before. He knows how to clutch these games up. The campfire is rolling, Bala. He's getting back in that rhythm.
Getting back in that rhythm and achieving top 5 right there, that last placement threshold before the Victory Royale. So all he has to do.
Here we go, the key to all doors! Oh my! Okay, I'm gonna lose my freaking voice after today. I'm telling you right now, Stompy and Shinken are putting on a show. The European queues are done as well. It's a free-for-all right now. Also, Pewds goes down a rocket from up above, Bala.
Just barely dodging that. And now he's up to 10, 15 total for this duel. It's a 1v1v1. He's hunting the player down on low ground, but he can't get in the zone. I think that's going to be the end because Katsus is looking right at him. Now, has the Chug Splash. The RPG just barely is going to hit the wall in front of him. Using the Chug Splash and the campfire, I don't think it's going to be enough because the player up above probably has more in the tank, but he's going to come down. Is it going to happen? No. Massey is going to win that game against Cactus over the heel off there, and that is just an unbelievable sequence of events. We followed Stompy and Shinken from the beginning, and look where they ended up. 15 eliminations, the most out of any placement thresholds besides the Victory Royale. That is a performance for the ages and a reminder of why we need to be scared of them going into New York City.
That ain't no little tiny thin pancake, bro. That's a big old beefy pancake covered in delicious syrup. You like to see it. But of course, guys, there's more Fortnite action. We've got more games hopping in right now. Got Dervig and his duo partner. They've got their eyes set on another duo sitting in a box. I believe they've got double heavy snipes. That's why we'd ping this out. A single shot's going to come out and wait for it. Okay, so they're going to break this wall. They want to get a little bit of a better vantage point. That's smart, right? Because they're over that little lip there. Nope, they're not there. But now you've made the heavy sniper known, right? Now this other duo is like, well, they're looking to take shots. You know, the panic launch pad.
I don't necessarily know if that's panic. So they are in the side of zone, making their way in, and you can see now Drivig and his teammate Waldo are going to go in, but he box fights indeed, gets Wet Bra right out of there, no chance to react at all. And that is something that you can catch people by surprise is they're trying to make that rotation, right? They're trying to figure out what their plan is to go forward. And because of that, they're all looking around. They're not paying attention to the fact that they're not covered. They're not paying attention and listening to the fact that there's a heavy sniper coming in or just a pickaxe even from one of the most obvious locations right above you.
And I mean, you saw them separate for a moment, him and his dual partner, and now they just use that rift to reposition and get to go close back together. Got Marcote here and Squalls K. Marcote here has got 6 eliminations. Again, this is almost unusual, Bala, because I feel like, you know, semifinals are typically the day where you find a ton of players sitting on mountains of eliminations, right? Borderline double digits at times. But on finals day, very rarely you see that happen. You see eliminations be picked up toward the end, right? When you break that placement barrier and then you're like, I'm just going to catch people making late rotations. But that's not been the case today. You can tell players they're ready. They are so hungry. They want those tickets.
You can almost feel the pressure that they're feeling, that they're playing with. Right? The high eliminations, they have to go for it because it's all or nothing right now in this moment. There's only 4 spots left up for grabs in EU. That isn't much out of all the players who are playing and out of the top 1,500 that made it from semifinals to today.
That's right. And remember, we recently saw the highest point value we've seen is 66. So we know that's like, we'll say top 10 at best right now. But look at everyone in the sky all hanging out. May have been a Rift to go, a community launch pad, a potential guy. Yeah, the vents are right there over by the hot spots. Right now, Alpha and Mark, they're just chilling, trying to find more eliminations. Any at all would be helpful. They find one.
That stink bomb coming to great effect as players start to make all their rotations, and it was a perfect opportunity to use it because, as we saw, there were so many players in the sky, and those players in the sky are all going to end up being low because of everybody else looking right up at them. So a good opportunity for a lot of people to find eliminations there, but going to opt to Rift as they start to get pressured and as this 7th zone starts to move.
This is going to be a little bit weird, right? Because remember, we're fighting in that biome that's like forest, the big tall trees. Depending on where we go, they could potentially land on the top. Let's stream Vato there in the bottom right corner for just a moment. They're in this game, and remember, they are looking to qualify. Wolfies and Rojo, we saw them earlier, right? They were in top 5. Yeah. They're still here with 65 points.
For some context, when we first checked in on the leaderboards, it was Wolfies and Rojo who were in the top spot, but they did get overtaken by Vato and Sky, so this might actually come to a head. Those two teams facing off in this game. Here's Wolfies getting in that box. He's going to take out Jachu from behind. But his teammate coming through with the trap, not going to be enough because Wolfies, the quick edit's going to go back on top of him and does find the elimination. Precious goes down. Even using the turret there, I mean, I'm wondering if that was a panic or an accident. But it's going to work out perfectly because if anybody was playing down below, he actually doesn't have to spend a cone there. It's not going to go down. It gives you extra HP on that floor.
And look, dude, they're still in this. Sky and Vato, they're in that middle ground tarp. They're actually going toe-to-toe with Wolfies and Rojo right now. This is the duo that they're fighting. So look, they actually have 70 points. This is now the new highest total we have seen. So it must be another 2 points coming in. They've hit top 10. The next threshold they're looking at is top 5 ball. It's coming down to the wire.
And you can see how careful and calm they are playing. They're making sure that they spend the time to use their heals, use their items, because if you don't use them, you're going to lose them. And finding one that's Drivig who goes down, and they're still pushing for that top 5. They're still pushing towards that victory royale and looking really good while doing it.
I thought that was Wolfies and Rojo. I thought with my heart of hearts. I believed it. And look at this. Watch the top left. Rojo finds another elimination, so you know he's alive and kicking. They've hit top 5, 75 points over on the Lestream duo. The French-speaking community's got to be losing their minds. Up above, you got Mark and Alphen as well. The question is, where is Wolfies? Where is Rojo? Where are they in relation to each other? This duo right in front of them very well could be them. Or it could be Alphen and Mark. It depends. I want to see this hide wide, man. I almost want to see a 3-box. I got to know with my heart.
Well, the trap going in there is definitely going to de-incentivize Sky and Vato to go in, and there we can see Mark and Alphen up top. Wolfies and Rojo down below. They take out takeoffs. And now it's all time to go right down. They know exactly the situation, but Sky gets taken out right away by Wolfies, and they're still fighting. Vato goes out. Rojo and Wolfies take the win there, and they're still going. There's only 2 players remaining. It's a 1 versus 1 right now. Low HP, though. And Smoke, Mark, and Alphen are going to come up from the top and clean up house.
That was insane. They ended with 77 points. That extra 3 points would have probably helped get them to that 80 threshold and just help build that lead. But this is absolutely insane. I think, Ball, for now, we got to send it back in the studio. We got to meet up with Pookie. We got to see how things are going. So, Pookie, let's send it your way.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I am here in the studio. Those games are absolutely wild. EU is, like always, not disappointing, that is for sure. But I am joined with my good friend Sundown. He has got some clips for us. I know you got a little bit of Stompy. Can't wait to see that. Show us what you got.
Yeah, let's actually jump in right here with some of the duos who have been popping off so much today in the last block. First off, we had the VAR duo of Refscar and Hackscore being able to put a ton of work on the mid ground. So first, you can just see catching the players who are trying to rotate through, putting the legendary infantry rifle to work, finding Comey there. But watch what happens on the rest of the mid-ground tarp. It's one thing we talked about, being ready to fight at all times. Catches Booth right there, 0 ping, won't save you as Refscar, then immediately edits around, checks another angle, gets the cleanup on Idrakil. That wasn't his knock, but the materials that he ends up getting from that was huge. But Hackscore is then covering the other side, is able to get the other part of the Valhalla Vikings duo, duo, and now they're going to work. Benji Fishy, one of the best players in the world, going down on the backside. Brilliantly done, and Hacksport picking up another one on the impact fixie, fragging his way into the top, but wasn't able to close it out. Tux now, on the other hand, was a one-man wrecking crew here. Just watch him going to work on the backside of the storm and putting the combat shotgun to work. I mean, for me, you can tell it got adjustments there with how Tux is just lasering people. And then that shot was so good, catching Nipsey in shadow form as he dropped down around the side, and he wasn't done yet. Again, we've talked about the power position that is the high ground when you're able to work from top down, close the bottom of the store, and Tux and Vorin just close out here, making sure he's phased through the floor to get Edwin. Now, we've seen a duo trying to qualify. Here's a duo who has already qualified and are potentially one of the best in the world for this part of the competition. Now, got the trade off there. Shinken gets the revive onto Stompy. He's sitting currently at 4 elims. They're on 6 right now, but let's start counting, because Stompy is going to go to absolute work, and this is just catching people in rotations and being aware. The quick double right away pushes them up to 8, and that was Melside too on the backside of it. Now they're up to 11 because Shinken was able to go to work, but the revive on Stompy ends up being the difference because he's able to push through. Finds Mashouz right there, now up to 12 as a duo. You will see Shinken go down on the backside there, so Stompy is just going to continue being a one-man wrecking crew on the tarp, up to 13 as a duo. Heavy snipes his way in, doesn't slow down, and continues pushing the pace, picks it up there, but unfortunately wasn't able to close out for the victory route. Stompy putting on a clinic, showing why he's able to contest for the very top. Now, as we talked about, the queues are closed, but we're not done yet. We want to see those final matches and what's left, Books.
For sure. Now, interestingly enough, I had the opportunity to speak with Stompy the other day. You know, we exchanged a little bit of back and forth about how he's feeling for World Cup. Him and Shinken are practicing 12 hours a day. They are going into this hard, and from what we've seen, it certainly shows. But you know what? I can't wait to get into more games. Zeke and Bala, let's hear from you.
Pookie just flexing all over us right now, talking about how she's talking with Shinken and Stompy. That's cool. I also talk to players. No, it's not. Pookie.
Don't cry on us now, but
it's already cried 6 times. That's a 6. All right, Fortnite fam, we are back.
And we're tuning in with Pyro and Destiny's Jesus right here. Destiny's Jesus is definitely somebody that's been on a lot of people's radar because, you know, we all learn from this guy. Everybody's watching his videos because every single day it feels like he's coming out with a new technique on how to box fight or how to build fight. His partner Pyro right now, they're slightly split. We'll see if they're going to be able to find any picks on the way in. Do find Wolfie. It's not the Wolfies that we saw from the other game. So just to keep that in mind right here.
Different Wolfies. So let's reiterate. We did not look at standings. But we know like 77 points is the highest we've seen at this point, right? So for Pyro and Destiny's Jesus, especially with maybe the last few games, they've got to make some really big things happening. Right now, Pyro is saying, don't even worry, fam. We've got you. We're going to pick up eliminations left and right. They've also hit the first round of placement points. This is going to be super, super beneficial for them.
Yeah, and when I said they were split, I didn't actually realize that they're not even split at all. They just kind of have 2 different angles here that they're approaching. Finding picks right here. Destiny Jesus looking down that south side and Pyro looking over towards the east. And finding those eliminations, not only does he have those, but he's feeling comfortable because he's finding those picks, getting the siphon, all that. They're getting themselves healthy, but he has 2 rip-to-goes as well in the inventory as Carnage is to go for heavy snipe. Oh, that is why you kind of need to make sure that you're not going into these situations, these end games, with low white HP, with low health, because if you don't have any bandages or anything like that, you're not going to be able to recover that without siphon, right? And if somebody is carrying, by chance, some stink bombs, and they realize, hey, I can go ahead and throw this on this box and get 2 people ticking down at the same time, that's value from that stink bomb, and also finding elimination because he was low, too low to even survive even a tick from it.
And I mean, they made it very known that what they were trying to do, right? The first heavy snipe came in and blew the wall out. At that point, you got to just build a wall, re-edit your ramp, and then just like move a 1x1 space back, right? A grid space back, because you know what they're trying to do, and you've got to expect. I did not expect that. Another stinker here, and this is what I'm talking about, right? You already see the players trying to get away from the stink bomb there, but in a similar fashion, you got to be ready. You got to think, what could they have at their disposal? They're trying to pressure us right now, especially this position. We've got to be ready for a stink to come in. But right now, Carnage going to look to reposition. Pretty good spot right now on this far side of the circle. Now we're just waiting.
Heavy Snipe comes in, the tree's in the way though, and I don't think there's a player directly in this box. He might have thought, because the tree was in the way, that
they were hiding behind.
Yeah, exactly. When the sound is there, you kind of hear the sound cues, you know that there's something coming, but regardless. Oh!
There's the player!
He comes in from the side. They both edit into the same box from different walls, and that's going to be the end of probably both of those duos, unfortunately, because they're fighting right on the edge of zone and with walls ahead of them as well. They're not going to be able to make their way out that easily, and a lot of players are going to realize exactly what's going on. But look how high Vapors and Yuto are right now, and we're already down to 12 teams in this game, Zeke.
I mean, they've got the builds, they've got a Flint Knock, they've got a Chug Splash, just a single one if they need to get crazy. They drop down in the box, the first shot misses, 125. And Land gets destroyed there. The Chug Splash going to help top him off. Unfortunately, look, his dual partner Yuto up above has been dropped, so now it is all on the shoulders of Vapor. They have 3 eliminations between them, so they've got to chain together more if they're looking for more points. Thankfully, the Storm goes back the opposite way.
And look who actually took high ground from them. It's Destiny's Jesus and Pyro, who we saw in with before, and he still has that GL that he's been using the grenade launcher from range, finding himself one before, and they're actually going to find another Rift to go. Not going to be that useful right now, but that GL is going to be, because they are having a free roam range right here up on top. They can throw this GL down in so many different cracks. And did he get it in that wall? Yes, but it's not going to find any damage. Actually, somebody fighting for height right now, but with those build fight tactics that he's been working on, he's going to go ahead and crank right back up and not let him take it. But in this case, does end up taking it. The Chug Splash coming in. Ooh, a Rift play. This is kind of an all or nothing. They might land on Alpha and Blaster right here. No, they're going to go out and scoop back out of the zone, but no, Pyro lands, and Destiny's Jesus didn't, so a little bit of miscommunication right here. Is Destiny's Jesus going to be able to maybe knock this out? Because I know Pyro has something. He does find Blaster, so is he going to actually take this team on head-to-head right now and possibly put themselves in position to win this game? Destiny's Jesus making his way right back up, and this fight is for all the marbles. The spam coming in from below, and that's going to be the end of Blaster and Alpha. Pyro and Destiny's Jesus took the high ground.
This is so huge. All he had to do was buy the time for the Siphon to come through, and that's exactly what he did. Look, Alpha dropped all the way down. He was like, look, you know what? That entire fight is lost. And now Destiny's Jesus and Pyro can rejoin. Down below, Pablo is going toe-to-toe with Alpha. And look at this, Suicide Mark as well. He gets traded out. And now Pablo is in a 1v2.
I think actually Destiny Jesus just knocked a few GLs down there, but he falls to his elimination right there. He gets knocked, and right now Pyro's making the slow climb down. It's now a 1v1 as Alpha goes down, but Pyro takes out Vapor, and the Victory Royale puts them at 63 points to win that game.
Man, so don't forget, we've seen quite a bit of points. They very well could be contesting for top 5 right now, and that would be absolutely huge. But of course, more games, more action to tune into. We're over by Tomato Temple. Look at it. All hail your tomato overlords.
Well, right now, just a recap of where we're talking about in terms of standings. You said that the highest points that we saw was what, 77?
77.
So
that's the highest we've seen so far.
Jesus and Pyro at 63 or maybe 64, depending on how that updates with that last elimination. They could be pushing up towards not necessarily qualification range just yet, but another one of those performances, and they very well could be. Remember, though, the queues are closed, so that could have been the last game that we just watched there. But here's Rennick takes out Mitro, and his teammate Vermax is already down, so Mitro himself did not have his dual partner Mongrel, but we already know their prowess. They've, you know, it seems as if they've qualified multiple times for duos already, Mitro and Mongrel, so they're not worried about that. Obviously not getting a chunk of that $2 million that's spread across all the regions. But again, talking about the scores and the standings, right now you can see Frenzy and Ads are already kind of tied with that last team that we saw.
Yep.
So possibly
and if I
push
remember,
up through this game.
If I remember, it was Stomping Chichinkin, right, that had 77. If I remember correctly. It's honestly
probably
so much action.
If that's an assumption that we're trying to make, I think we can go ahead and make that comfortably.
I think what I was also going to say in regards to that is that don't forget they've already qualified, right? So even if they're sitting at that #1 spot, that shifts the entire standings down, all right? So not 1 through 4th that are going through, but instead 2 through 5th be going through. But right now,
and that's a story in and of itself.
Yeah.
Stompy and Shinken, they have done it every single duos
dude.
week. They have done it every single duos week. They have not missed a beat on making sure they're up in the top spots every single weekend.
Man, to get and be able to like get that kind of practice, right, and to keep doing it. One thing would be like, we qualified, we hit, and we've hit at least like maybe top 10, but no, these guys are hitting top 3
the value
back to back.
Stink bombs right now, Zeke. I think he's going to get both from this last one. I think this is going to do it. I think his HP is going to be gone, but no, not throwing it all the way ahead, but he's going to find the AR shots regardless. So Ghosty and Jamif falling to, he actually still has 2 more stink bombs right here. That's crazy.
And don't forget, these get more valuable as the circle closes, right? Because remember, this is the space of, or I guess the stink cloud is a little bit bigger than a 1x1. So as that circle continues to close, you can really be putting some people in really tough spots, especially when you're basically just saying, the entire play space you're in right now, boom, I have dealt it, you're smelling it.
Classic Zekeism right there. He always gets the last laugh. But moving into the rest of this game right now, it's Zeke and Narcos on high ground.
I really got to reach out to Zeke here because we have the same name, and every time Sundown is on broadcast and says his name, I look and I'm like, wait, did you say my name? Does he need me? Oh, never mind. It's just Zeke and Narcos. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, always on high ground, always winning games, something that Zeke is not familiar with.
Dang it, I was going to make the joke. You beat me to the punch.
But Yarkos and Zeke are certainly familiar with it as they take high ground and hold it against Kaspersa, who tried to take it from them. Yarkos is qualified in solos, not just yet in duos, but we'll see here if the Polish duo can do it. Can qualify for New York. They're at 57 right now. We saw a couple of players that were ahead of them in terms of points in this game.
Right.
So everything matters. Remember, every interaction counts. I think he has another opportunity here to knock down, but no, they're not going to take it. They're going to decide time to back off. But as that branches out more and more, hold on, because Hadkos falls directly into somebody's box, and I think that's going to be the end. Yes, he falls to the zone because that player takes advantage of the, distraction that he had up on high ground and knocks him out from below. No, it's Frenzy and Ads that I was just kind of referencing in terms of their points. At 66, they take the high ground, Zeke.
Look at this, 67 points now. They're trying. Now, don't forget, we saw, again, 77 is the highest we've seen so far. They're 10 points in striking distance, and that's if that duo was in the #1 spot. So you've got to think, again, these guys are contesting for top 5. We've seen teams literally sit here and trade places, and if they hit top 15, it's going to be huge. Lestream, Bato, and Skite are in this game, Bala.
That is huge. And they're at 77 as well,
so
as we see and update their scores. So just like you're talking about, 77 is that point to beat. Right now, they're going to find another. The cone slide comes in. It's Takeoffs again who goes down, and his teammate Andretta falls to Tux, who is with Borwin. We saw them win the game earlier.
And look, dude, they jump up to 81 points. They hit the top 15. Those first 3 points are so crucial. And look, they're just waiting it out, right? This lobby's going to continue to thin itself out. Zeke, my boy, unfortunately gets picked up, and another round of placements. 83, Bala. 83. They could very well clutch this up and just be the point leaders.
This could be it. Skite and Vato could finally, after 10 weeks of trying, after 4 duos competitions, all those weekends finally paying off, possibly here for Skite and Vato. We've seen this exact situation play out in that game that they got all the way towards the top 5 last time, with a lot of eliminations racking up as well. They're playing slow, and they're making sure that they're going to get that ticket to New York.
And if you watch in the top left, Vato, unfortunately, he gets traded out. He's gone down, and he gets picked up by FaZe Vorwin. And right before that, I was going to say Mongrel gets picked up. Skite's dropped down to 18 HP. In his mind, he's probably thinking, this is his moment to shine in the sun, down to 8 HP. He has to make something happen. Even just hitting top 5 would make the difference right now, Bala.
And I don't even think all these builds are his. You can see as soon as he got into the next box, he frantically makes but it's Tux who took out Vato earlier. He uses the stink bomb at the opportune moment and takes out a few more. That's 7 eliminations total. Vorwin's still up, though, so he still has an opportunity to make this work.
Oh, man, eliminated 6 there, just on the cusp, but it's okay. Again, that's now the highest point value we've seen. Even evade ads. Look at this, 75 points right now. These numbers are getting out of control. Vorban down on the lowest ground. He's going to be dropped.
Got to break through metal, though.
He's got to find Sensei. Look up. He's got to get Sensei. He's going to jump down in front. No. He does not get the trade out. Ads right now has the health advantage. Frenzy and Sensei, look at them both. They're so hurt that the storm is continuing to tick them out, and it is not enough as Ads and Frenzy get the victory royale.
Man, Zeke, we're 79 points.
I can't
and
do
that
this.
could be 80 because I know that elimination counter is slow to update towards the end of these replays. It could be enough, and that could even be possibly their last game, or they could have gotten one more in before these queues. I mean, Zeke, this is coming straight down to the wire here in Europe.
Oh my goodness, man. Of course it would be like this for the final week. It's been like this every, periodically we've seen moments like this where we've seen players edged out at the very end.
And I gotta, Vato and Skite, man.
Yes.
Out in 6th place in that game, not quite making it to 5th place. That could come back to bite them in a terrible fashion. It could be heartbreaking for them, but we go ahead and catch up with them later in the standings. We'll see where they all end up. Here, Thomas and Kluja finding one elimination this game, and again, we're looking at the point ranges. 77 was that, but as we saw that last game, they pushed over that 77.
So don't forget, they're at 83 points when we last saw them. So right now, if you're looking at Thomas and his duo partner Kluja, they could very well contest that 83 points that we saw, right? It's only a difference of 6 points. That's making it into top 10. They're at, or excuse me, top 5. With a few eliminations sprinkled in there, man, I do not want to see Skite and Vato get edged out again. They've come so close so many times. This has got to be their week, and you've got to think they're thinking the same thing, right? They're like, it's all come down. We've put everything on the line. We're playing our hearts out. This is our week to qualify. Just keep your head up and keep positive.
And let's not forget about Tux and Vorwin there in that last game as well. Contesting with Skite and Vato, actually taking them out.
Right.
First, Vato ends up getting split, and Tux takes advantage of that. And then the stink bomb coming in at the perfect moment. Skite not having any white heels. We talked about it earlier. So ending up edging them into that top 5 and finding some eliminations on the way too.
Probably kicking themselves, thinking if we had made that top 5, it would have just helped ensure that our placements were very high. But right now, the current game, Brolof here and his duo partner Artemis Swede, they're in top 15. Don't forget that first round of placement points is great, but they're at the 39 threshold. They've got to make more happen. And don't forget Thomas and Kluja, they're sitting on 77 if I remember correctly. The question would be, who else is in this lobby? What other big names can we scout out?
It's not just big names, but anybody who's up at the top of the leaderboards right now, because as far as I'm concerned, Thomas and Kluja are the subjects of this game as far as we've seen so far. Obviously, everybody else getting the action.
Hello chat. Seems like the World Cup finished, I think. Let's just see again. And yes, it has. So let's invite people. Play some normal games. Right, there we go. PS4 is so loud. Like, honestly. It actually sounds like a jet engine right now. That's how loud it is. If I take the disc out though, it'll be fine. It won't be as loud. Trust me. Still be loud for a minute though. This is the newer item shop. I've got the core wrap. This ninja looking skin. Yeah, I think the World Cup actually finished for today.
And landed, he could have gotten
Oh
the
no,
segment
it didn't.
and all of a sudden forced this into
Oh.
a 1v1 with HD advantage. But unfortunately going to go out into the zone, not able to control himself with the flint knock. Just like
This
Zeke
glitch.
here.
I need to change my stream title again.
Right there from that play.
Well, bye again then guys, I guess.
Slowly sliding down. I'm trying to collect myself, Fortnite fan, but it's not working right now. Next game, 62 players, 34 duos, still sliding down. 85 points from Rojo and Wolfies? Okay, guys. All right, listen.
So they were slowing down when we last took a look at the standings when I was up there with you, Zeke. They were slowing down. They fell out of that first place. They're starting to creep down to that 6th, the 7th. We were talking about whether their games have been played yet, but climbing back in a strong fashion here. They've got one more game, and at 85 points, if they make this a big one, they could break 100 and almost guarantee themselves a spot to New York.
They have shifted gears, shifted mindset, and have said, we need to punch our tickets. We need to be on the stage of the World Cup Finals in New York City right now. They've got 3 eliminations between them. Don't forget, top 15 is the round of placement points. They are halfway there. They've got to play this smart. They've got to find these few eliminations, like this one player roaming around. Oh my God! Elite gets picked off, another elimination heading their way. And look at this, they're just looking to confirm eliminations, beam players as they can while being as safe as possible, because look at all the resources they've got available to them. Shadow bombs, chug splashes, the combat, minis, they've got it all. They're looking to make this, Bala.
It's kind of crazy. I actually thought that he had an infantry rifle in his hands, but no, it's actually a heavy AR, which you don't see used too often anymore because of the effectiveness of that infantry rifle at long range, but you can't, you got to take what you get, and maybe he even prefers the heavy AR because it does have, you know, a bigger clip in it.
Yeah.
Not doing quite as much damage, but up in the top left right now, we're not only looking at the thresholds reaching top 25, but Mr. Savage goes down in this game. Not too consequential because he's already qualified for New York, but that's another hint that they're probably not going to be making it up there and taking those top 4 spots.
That's right. Don't forget they've qualified, which means right now they're playing for money, which is great. So you got to think they're trying to find eliminations. Den Magic Pulse, by the way, someone tweeted at us. That means the magical sausage. You're welcome. The more you know. More shots coming out here from Ollie is cracked. He did not manage to crack that player's shields, but the shots were pretty on point, and he's, of course, 761 above the damage threshold for the Storm. There, Motor, for just a brief moment, peeks out, and Ollie finds and secures it.
I think he might have also hit Motor's teammate, Barox.
I believe he did.
As he jumped out of that box, I'm looking at Wolfies and Rojo right now, carpeting their way towards the zone. They're going to go ahead and decide to launch pad. They use that, you know, tarp for a second just to get ahead of everybody else, make sure they're not gonna, you know, hit their heads and waste the launch pad effectively. But here, Benji using those chug splashes to immediately get back to max health, starting his turtle forward.
And the fish out of water here, I mean, the duel of these, you know, we kind of, it's funny that you said we may not see them in top 10, but look at the point threshold.
I know.
They said, look, Bala, we're savage, we're Benji Fishy, bro. Don't put us out. By the way, 4 rounds in the AR, only 4.
And Zeke, finds actually 2 players who didn't edit their box close. He's going to take out Black. And his teammate as well, Stoico, going down, and that's probably the end of their run in the World Cup.
Benji literally just said, Zeke, I don't care about these 4 AR rounds. Watch me pick up the double, and now I'm sitting on 300. Check me again, bro! I'm a fish out of water! I can breathe in fresh air! That was, in case you didn't see that was a thing at the summer block party, which made me laugh, by the way. Go back and watch those little interstitials. They're fantastic. That's what I was referencing. But 86 points over on Wolfsies and Rojo.
Yeah, and he's actually in trouble here as the Shadow Bomb. This player actually doesn't realize, though, he's going to take a nice shot onto Mawaka, sorry. As Wolfie's making his way forward, Rojo is split, but we've seen this situation before. Again, reaching towards that 90 points right now. One more elimination is going to do it, but Rojo goes down, and it's all up to Wolfie's right now.
All right, here we go. So Rojo gets picked up. But now, look, they've just hit that 90-point threshold. So let's think about this, right? If Wolfies could clutch it up by himself, he'd have to at least get the Victory Royale, which is another 7 points, and at least 3 eliminations. There's still 10 players. It's doable.
To get 100, is that what
to break the triple digits. Yeah, I want to see the 100. I want to see it because you know they want to see it too.
I mean, based on what scores I'm seeing already spread out throughout the map and the games that we've seen, I think he's already probably clinched it. But you know, he's thinking, I have to perform the best I have ever done here. I have to win this game if I want to make it, because I don't have high ground. I don't have a teammate. I've got to do everything. I've got to take all this responsibility on my shoulder, all the pressure from all 10 weeks, and do it right now, Zeke.
That's right. And you got to think they're probably saying, like, just imagine this was you on the stage of the World Cup Finals, right? Imagine you're in that moment. Take everything, all the practice, the long hours you put and dedicated to this game, and focus it and hone it in right now. Wolfies, he's got 3 eliminations. Again, 94 points. If he can find 3 more eliminations, it's not enough. Confetti trades him out and shuts him down in that moment. And now it's coming down to this. It's a 2v1.
Confetti and Toos. It's kind of crazy because we started World Cup in week 1 in semifinals. Toos playing in solos, actually destroying the semifinals, and now here again, ending EU. Is he going to be able to pick up this win? It could propel them up to 71 points, but it's going to happen. Ollie goes down, almost makes a hero RPG play onto Confetti. My heart dropped for a second there, but that really could be, you know, a story from the start to the finish, Zeke.
Yeah. This is, I think, the only fitting thing now to do. I'm stressing out of my mind, but for now, let's send it into Pookie. She's in the studio. She's going to break down what's going on.
Thank you so much, Zeke. You know what? Go get yourself a sandwich. Go get a drink of water. Calm down. I was over there. You were stressing out for sure. I am joined here with Sundown. Those games are absolutely incredible. You always putting on a show. Never disappointing. Speaking of that, don't want to bring up who's going to be disappointed or excited, but we got to look at the standings.
The final standings, the last 4 coming out of Europe. It's been so absurdly competitive, and let's take a look. Punch some tickets going through. Wolfies and Rojo taking the top spot. Stompy Tashinkin, Benji Fishy, and Mr. Savage don't know how to share. They're still hanging out, had already qualified, so that means it shifts down, and we got Skype, Invato, Vorin, and Tux, and then Klusha in Singularities. Thomas HD taking up the spots, 1 point separating the difference, going through there. Saw it going down. I mean, this is nuts. So many players who we've seen. Klusha getting the double qualification going through. Shinken and Stompy not knowing how to stay off of the top. Huge runs from Skype and Vato, as well as Vorin and Tux. And then Wolfies and Rojo just dominating at the start of the day, kind of falling off, and everyone was saying, oh, can they stay up there? A huge last-minute surge, $20,000, a trip to New York City, Pooks. That's massive.
Congratulations to everyone who has qualified for World Cup Finals in New York in July. I cannot wait to meet all of you, but we have some visits to get down to, Sundown.
Time to punch some tickets, right?
Yeah, we got to punch those tickets.
All right, let's get the top one right there. Congratulations, Wolfies and Rojo.
We got Skite and Vado coming out of the stream. Am I doing this one?
Yeah, you can get that one as well. Split it up 2 and 2, and then get Warren and Tux. Such a great job from Tux there. We saw a number of his plays. Warren as well clutching up in the end, and then rounding it out. Klusha, by the way, in Singularity. Thomas HD, congratulations. All of you played so incredibly well. It was a great day to round it out. But again, hey, first of all, to even get to Sunday in Europe, it took 67 points in a victory royale. Like, if you were playing on Sunday, you're among the best of the best there, and just because your name isn't up here doesn't mean you're done. There's always going to be more to play for. There's always more there. And speaking of always more competitive Fortnite stuff, we recently actually just launched our own dedicated Twitter to all things competitive Fortnite. You know, let's just throw it on up there. Go ahead, give it a follow as well. It's twitter.com/FN competitive, and I mean, there's always a way to get involved. We're going to be highlighting plays, we'll be doing breakdowns, we'll be asking you who your favorite players are up there, so keep an eye on that. And then let's also see what is up on the social wall and what players had to say up there. Boom, right on up there, and then everyone saying welcome to Twitter on there. Let's go, people being excited about it, and look at that. I love the Sharks just slamming the like and the retweet button.
Nice, I love that. Cutest graphic I've seen on this wall thus far. Can we just talk about Evade Orange's tweet for a second? The only Twitter I need. Could not have said it better myself.
Well, he needs his own there to interact with it as well.
That's
but
true.
I mean, just
you know, potato. That is what it is. But yeah, guys, if you're not following this Twitter already, please go and give it a follow. I'm following it. I know Sundown is. Tweet to us on there. We'll be replying to stuff all day today. But you know what? I feel as though, you know, we've seen a lot of games coming out of Europe today. You know, we've seen a lot of people, you know, punch their tickets. Congratulations to everybody so far. I cannot personally wait to get into the next set of games. So before we do that, we are going to go to a quick break. Do not go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll have more Fortnite action.
Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your squad some nums. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos Royale with brunch. Red juicy's a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pete for Pete. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your squad some nums. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your squad some nums.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we are going to talk about the Tactical Assault Rifle and its addition to competitive play.
The Tactical Assault Rifle is probably one of the best additions to the game. It's a long-range weapon where you could save AR ammo if you have a drum gun.
Small bullet, you can...
A dope reloading animation. I mean, come on, just look at it. We've seen a lot of competitive players opt into using the Tactical Assault Rifle over the course of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open qualifiers. So let's hear from some of the players who qualified for the finals and get their thoughts on the TAC AR's addition to the game.
It's really good. Like really good. Once you get to endgame scenarios like 5th zone and beyond, it absolutely beams. It's very viable in meta right now. Everybody's been using it.
I like it because you could actually sneak up on someone. It has this low sound, so it's hard to hear.
It has its viability due to its first shot accuracy that can make it really strong, and the fall off damage isn't as strong as it was for the silent SMG, which got vaulted.
I reckon the gun's awesome for endgame, because if you've got height, that gun can really get a lot of eliminations because it's like a laser, and people endgame tend to have less HP than they would towards the early and mid game, so I think it's really strong in situations.
Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the Tactical Assault Rifle, and when do you like to use it? Send us your opinions using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and I'll see you on the battle bus, or maybe on the high ground with a TAC AR.
Fortnite fam. Did I beat you in rock, paper, scissors? Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. I probably did because I'm really good at it. It's the only thing I'm good at ever. But, guys, we are knee-deep in the World Cup finals. Qualifier here for duos. It has been unbelievable. The European action has not disappointed. But, of course, we're getting ready to hop into more games. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Oceania replays because don't forget, Oceania and Asia happened overnight. So we're going to also look at Asia replays as well. I guess I should have said both. And then we're going to take a live look into Brazil, see how things are going for them. I need 2 casters on deck. Let's get Pookie Face. Let's get Sundown. Let's get into these games.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I'm joined here by the amazing Pookie Face, who has a great talent at ignoring high fives.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, she literally looked right at the camera and then right at me. But as Zeke just said, Oceania and Asia wrapped up last night. I stayed up and watched some of the games. I know most people didn't, but they were incredible. The last spots were there, and let's hop in, give these guys a little coverage, and celebrate just how awesome at Fortnite they are. Now, a fun fact about both these guys, 7 matches played total. That was all they ended up running through. So they were able to get the maximum amount of points through each one of them, not needing all 10. And as we talked about with the breakaway esports duo of Serpent and Hype, averaging a placement of 2.67 across those 7 games. That is ridiculous.
That is extremely high. Do you know what other teams are sitting at in terms of averages like that?
I mean, you really don't typically will see placements like that in a 10-game run. Like in overall, like we've seen people being those consistent in like over the course of 10 games.
Right.
But like in that spree, I think the closest we've seen is the Twins out of Oshi when they were playing more placement based and less aggro. I think they had one of the weeks up there where they were nearing 4, but sub 3 that's really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty incredible, like you said. And we see Hype just get the elimination on Pendragon, LOL there, just utilizing his edits there to quickly peek out, make sure that he's not leaving himself too exposed. Take a look at his partner, Serpent, who has got his own agenda of what he's doing over here. Looks like he's doing the same thing, but on the opposite side. So these guys just applying pressure all over the map.
Yeah, and one thing to note, it is a much sparser circle when you're in those very late games in terms of Oceania. Some players opting to play aggro, trying to get their games out there, will just go full send and try and burn through a couple towards the end to get into another one. But if you have good game management or the ability to just play consistently and ride it out, you can play this game all the way to conclusion and maybe snag what might be a slightly easier victory route for you if you're playing passive and defensive, which Serpent and Hype seem to have been doing so here with, I want to say, only 6 elims, but in comparison to the rest of the lobby, it's not a ton. It's good.
No, for sure. And to your point, kind of what you said about knowing, where your opponents are. Let's keep in mind that there's only 12 players left on this map right now, and only 7 duos remain. Make that 11 and 6. I spoke way too soon. Serpent secures another elimination there on Bray. But in terms of final circles, Sundown, this is not something that we see very often in these late games.
No, and it makes for interesting play because people can be more calculated, but normally you don't get as much room to operate. So now all of a sudden, Zank being in this 1-by-1 by himself, if certain Hype want to go pinch him, they absolutely will. They know this is a 2v1. They know there's no one else here, but Zank is now trying to get whatever opportunity he can to free up shots, knowing that the next elim that goes down is the top 5, and every single point matters, even if not for qualification, then for the prize money, with the prize pool being doubled in weeks 9 and 10.
Yeah, and Zank making that quick decision to just use the launch pad, kind of get out of there. He saw that there were players rushing at him, decided to go up, get the high ground, which does end up working out for him because he lays down a 35 and a 71 shot on opponents down below, breaks a ball.
Just getting the tags on the end of the storm as rotation does go up the mountain. The verticality being the difference there. Elimination does go over. That was the smoke we just talked about. While Replace goes through, he edits down, has nothing to catch himself, but luckily was on the edge of it. But Hype is relentless on the high ground, and now they're going to start working the top down. When we started on board with them, they had 4 elims, now worked it all the way up to 8. There is 9 and 10, and they're looking to close this match out, and this is where every point matters. Getting the wall replaced and Slaya goes down. Well done from Hype and Serpent. 11 elims in the Victory Royale.
Well done from them indeed. Now, unfortunate to see Slayo go down. I know that he is a favorite from a lot of people, but you know what? Second place, not too bad, Sundown.
No, it was a good effort, but like you said, once kind of those two get rolling, when they have the momentum, they are able to just run with it. We've seen it before in the semifinals, and when they finally converted it over, sometimes that's all it takes. If you're able to put the pieces together on the right day in the finals, that's what ends up mattering. Now we're on board here with Surf Junkie and Evanix.
And take a look at their loadout they have right now. 2 Rift to Goes, 2 Shadow Bombs. I'd be interested to see if they've split the Shadow Bombs. Duos will typically do that. You know, give 2 and 2 so each partner has some kind of mobility in their inventory. They do only take up 1 slot, and you can carry a whole bunch of them. So we've seen time and time again players utilizing those to make rotations, make sure they're safe heading into the next zone, and they are going to actually opt to Rift out there so that they can make that early rotation. They did have quite a long way to go, but they are going to look to see if they can possibly sneak on some high ground here.
Yeah, the thing is there, well, it seems like it is a little bit of an early rift. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner, majority of the players were in their path in order to get to the rotation. So when you have 2 rifts and 2 extra shadow bombs as well as a ton of the shields, you can afford to be a little more aggro there, and they're actually able to now get priority on the zone and pick up an elim as well. But can they get the mats and then disengage out with whatever upgrades they so desire?
Again, Surf Junkie taking a lot of damage there, so he is going to have to really focus on getting healed up before they, you know, make the next rotation or before they take another engagement, because you certainly do not want your duos partner going down or falling to anyone at this stage of the game. That certainly can spell disaster. But we are going to take a look here at Serpent and Hype. We saw a little bit of their gameplay in the last game. They look as though they're playing very, very well together today, and you know, let's just see what they can pull out right now.
Yeah, so these were actually, so the last game we watched was their second to last game, and this was their final game of the evening. So that's kind of why it ended up being such a thinner lobby. It was a lot of the players trying to get through and use the last of the games, but Serpent and Hype saying, that's fine, we'll play it for a victory royale. And right now, inside the first placement threshold, already on 7 elims for this match. So that's 10 points so far coming out from this game. That's what we talk about when we say maximizing efficiency in every single one of your lobbies. If you're making it into the final placement threshold, getting a couple of those victory royales and getting elims as well, no, it makes it very difficult for everyone else in the lobby to even keep pace with you.
Yeah, and you know, that we've seen time and time again has worked out for so many players, you know, really just being very aggressive, just going full send. It doesn't matter what game you're in, that can always bode well. He does get the knockdown on oh my gosh, Surf Junkie and Evnix just fall to him completely, no chance, and we've seen them play very strong in the past, so that is very surprising. But Serpent does pick up the Rift to go and 2 extra Shadow Bombs, so now the tables have turned, Sundown. He has got all of the mobility he needs.
They just have so much control over this lobby now with the high ground. They can see nobody else is even remotely close to it. There's the far side of the lobby. You will see Lunar and Alpha trying to put some shots on it. Prince Charming comes sailing in, but there was a Shadow Bomb directly in the box behind it. I don't know if Alpha realized that. Gets high ground taken away from him second. Boxed in, no traps coming out. Does finally put one down, and Kaiser can't avoid the damage there. 15 health on it. Needs to throw the Chug Splash at his feet or get the edit out. One of the two has to happen very shortly. 15 HP, was able to get back up to the high ground. Is going to opt to just pop the minis and then go for the Chug Splashes.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it wouldn't have really mattered too much what he chose to do, because you are only getting 20 HP effectively from those Chug Splashes for each one that you throw down. He did wait for his partner to join him, though, because there is that area of effect with the Chug Splashes. You get 20 health, your teammate gets 20 health, so not everybody gets 20 health.
Well, that's tend to be why you see it more run in duos, but also just love having shields all over the place. But now Serpent and Hype going aggro, and we've seen it putting the dual combat shotguns to work, focusing on that with the loadout and making sure they're shooting together. But right now, Serpent has been chipped out a little bit. However, they're into the top 10 in terms of the team. So 5 placement points been picked up so far, and look at that. Prince Charming gets taken down. No fairy tale ending for you there. It's just back to the lobby, and considering this is the last match, that's the end of your World Cup run, as Serpent and Hype able to clean that up. There's another one going over, up to 12, and all the resources from it, and they saw that Shadow Form player. Look at him just running.
What is happening? Sundown. He was just, you know what? I think at that point he was just trying to do whatever he could to stay alive. Unfortunately, Hype and Serpent met him there, but Serpent does actually go down, and he is going to fall to the storm. It is going to be completely up to Hype now to carry the rest of this game. Each of them having 7 eliminations, sitting at 125 points. Do you think he's going to be able to pull out the victory royale? We're going to have to find out.
Now, they are on this 14. Elam's has the proximity launcher. That's 70 on both of them right there. Will get the AoE, gets the 70 again, so he knows that player is on 40. Drops down, he finds Ices, catches himself with the waterfall as he drops. Will pick that up. Siphon comes over too. Will he be able to get enough mats? He's sitting on 3, 2, now out of materials. It's a 2v2, v1, v1. Edit comes out. Needs to pick up this Elam. Storm isn't his favorite player. Covers himself with metal. Edit goes forward. Uncle Andy, say goodnight. Nothing left for you there. Hype finds the shot right there. Gets a good 80+ tick. Can he find another one as he's trying to do all of the work by himself right now? Serpent's been taken down. He's sitting on 9. Elam's getting some help from the high ground. 73 with the first shot. Getting walled out. Needs to find a way back in the zone, and he does. Lupius goes down. 1, 2. Can he find the third? Needs to get the conversion over, and he does. Lupius goes down. It's a 2v1. Can he find it?
Oh, no.
Alpha Barbucks cleans it up, but second place and 15+ Elams coming out from the good effort from Lunar and Barbucks, but Hype and Serpent showing why they got that top spot. It was really well played.
Unbelievable, the decision making and mechanically how gifted you have to be able to drop down, waterfall down, pull out your shotgun, and catch yourself so quick. Cat-like reflexes. Too bad Kitty Plays isn't here to comment on those.
And making sure that it was the player he had ticked twice with that proximity grenade. While it only being 70 damage, it's basically guaranteed if the player isn't boxed themselves up. But now we're going to hop on over to the Asia region while we see what was up with the Trigger QQ boys of the Vietnamese region, or the Vietnam country, playing on the Asia region. Apologies there, as we're on board here with Ricky and Joyza. Some good shots coming out from that tactical assault rifle so far. 12 duos remaining, 23 players left as we're in the half in, half out.
Yeah, and we are seeing a little bit of a trend here so far with these games, Sundown. You know, not very many players left alive, but I think it's a great change of pace, and you can really see how the players adapt their play style to kind of, you know, counteract the fact that there aren't going to be very many people in the lobby. Ricky just taking down Seal completely as he was trying to rotate and use the launch pad to get out of there, so good on him with that elimination. That will be his first one of the game. His partner, Jazia, is sitting on 2. They are going to use the stinks to actually try to pressure this player above them, see if they can get him to come down, but he just gets out of there and says, you know what? That one stunk. I'm not interested.
Yeah, Cushy having no reason to do that. And you also noticed that Joyza threw the stink directly on top of Ricky while he was pressuring. No friendly fire going on there. As you can see, Hooten and Peach on the low ground. But there's the qualifiers, Flame and Unique over on the side. And one thing I went through and ended up reviewing a lot of their matches, they had some hairy situations early, but pretty much every single early game, they got completely uncontested Dusty Divot and walked out with just max everything. Like, it was nuts and just getting a ton of rotation, but right here you can see right now, sitting on 2 Elams, have a decent amount of loot, good amount of mats, and prime area on the zone. So convert that into one onto Theo, getting a good knock with the help of the Storm, up to 66 points as we're inside that placement threshold number 2, top 10 ticking over.
And I feel like Dusty Divot is actually one of those points of interest where you can drop and get a ton of resources, all the trees being there. You know, some would argue that, you know, you're at a bit of a disadvantage because you are essentially, you know, not to pun, but you are in a divot. But you know what? If you can use those trees for cover, that whole area completely uncontested and for yourselves, you are going to come out of there sitting pretty. So we are taking a look here. They are rotating over. We'll see how he builds up here, if he tries to take high ground, or it looks like he might actually be making a play for that.
Yeah, he was looking to find it over on the side, but instead just opted to box himself up, realizes he has the RPG and wants to start sending everyone cascading down, but opts not to fire it. So interesting decision there. I actually thought he would have sent it down. Instead, turns towards the player underneath him, and Ricky are going to try and isolate that player in order to convert it into an elim. Now he's going to look skyward. I figure he would want to reset that before they got too established. Nope. Instead, he's going to say, my high ground now. Perfectly timed launch pad to get it right at that maximum deploy height. And now, all of a sudden, Joyza and Ricky on the high ground with a whole bunch of resources.
And 12 rockets in their RPG. We've seen this time and time again. Explosives are extremely strong, but they are even stronger when they are raining down on players from ultimate high ground. These players do not have to worry at all about anything that is happening above or below them. They need to be looking up at Jazia and his teammate because they are actually going to go on a little bit of a tear here. Let's see if they can get any more eliminations. They've already picked up one, but you can see him. Jazia's ready. He's got that RPG out, Sundown.
He has it out. He's trying to make sure it's loaded. Stinks continue going up. That looks like it's his teammates since he's just walking through that. Does hit top 5 now. Ricky has taken a solid amount of damage, but continues tossing down Stinks towards the low ground, but he hasn't found anything with it. So far, they've only converted this into one, and Ricky actually got knocked flame all of a sudden. Flame and Unique picked up 2 there, and they're into the top 3 with a 2v1v1. Joyza on the high ground. Dorothy isolated in front of him. They're going to try and pinch. RPG comes down, but Joyza commits himself, falling down after the RPG, taking 80+ damage. So now rifts himself up to the sky, but this is going to give Flame and Unique all of the pace, all of the pressure. Dorothy gets pushed down. Unique does get chipped out, so he needs to be careful. Joyza, recognizing this, knows he needs to go now before it's isolated, but there's the maximum deploy height. Might as well just be hanging out, flips his head, finally touches his feet, and gets blasted for it. Flame and Unique, we hopped on board with them. They had 2 elims. They converted into a 7 elim victory royale for 17 points, Spooky.
Very well done coming out of those 2. And Jazia made a little bit of a mistake there. He did miss that floor that was built out, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have much of a choice. He didn't have any mats left, so he had to rift. That was literally his only play. Fortunately, it didn't work out, but let's hop right into another game from the Asian servers. We are looking at the Trigger Boys again. They're sitting at 9 eliminations already this game. So, you know, let's kind of see if they're able to pull something off here.
And again, one thing I highly recommend if you have the ability to go back and watch these guys' VODs, because I know a lot of people, they like to talk about the zero ping wall takers and going somewhere else to play. These are players playing from Southeast Asia, playing from Vietnam, being able to execute together, finding a strategy that works for them, team firing and coordinating. It was very impressive to watch. And there's honestly a couple of situations in the early and mid game where it felt like they really shouldn't have got out of, and they had really cool disengages. So highly recommend checking out these 2 players in particular if you want someone who might feel a little more accessible in terms of going over, and it's something that, like, hey, I can do this, because I know there's sometimes when I watch VODs of like Benji Fishy or Clicks or Dubs, and it's like, well, I'm never going to try that ever, so.
Never say never, believe in yourself.
Some of these kids, some of the guys going to the Fortnite World Cup final are infinitely better than I could ever hope to be mechanically, and honestly have shown why they are that good. Like, these guys are the best of the best and just do some mechanical stuff that hasn't been seen before. But that is not the only way to be successful in this game. There's plenty of paths in Fortnite Battle Royale to get there and to get to the top.
Yeah, I mean, you can be mechanically amazing. You know, you can have smart rotations. That's what I love about the Battle Royale genre as a whole. There's just so many different working parts. And I feel as though, you know, there are some duos that do some things really great and others that do other things even better. So that's why it's always so exciting to me to be spectating duos and being able to be here and casting these games, just so that you can see how these duos work together, how they play to their strengths. They are going to be taking, that one gets me every time. I had to quickly look down into the inventory there to make sure he had the redeploy. I was like, what are you doing, Unique? Please!
I still get a little bit of vertigo anytime. Even if I know they have it, it's just like I'm desperately afraid of heights. But we're into the top 10 now as Unique and Flame. Now you can see high utility. Again, 2-gun loadout, but using as much of the utility. And RRQ hero Kappa just gets ripped. 4-shot out from under him, and they catch him before he even hits the ground. Up to 91 points so far from Unique and Flame, and just so well done.
Yeah, and you can see there, just, you know, they started shooting at the wall and then both immediately switched down to the floor. Smart plays coming out of them as always. Here we have Met. I'm going to take a stab at that name. I know that, thank goodness it's me casting here and not Zeke because...
he would have panicked and
Yeah.
probably fell out of his chair. But
Yeah,
now,
that-
Met taking shots from the high ground, looking down here, trying to find what he can. Gets GCBM, GGK with a perfectly placed rocket, and now he's going to look to punish that backside of the storm. That was the conversion over to the knock he'd already gotten, so nothing else to do in there. As Harukiyo trying to put shots out towards the rest of the lobby, they find Huda Fishy. So Benji Fishy transcending regions now, all the way over in Asia. People trying to get that luck, but not going to be enough because the SP duo currently running up on the high ground onto 7 elims, looking for number 8 with that rocket. Got to be careful when you edit. However, Harukiyo goes down.
Yeah, he just completely dropped down there, possibly to make it easier for his partner to possibly get him. But you know, it isn't going to matter because the zone is moving, so he is going to completely fall. Here we have the Trigger Boys. Actually, my apologies. It's only Unique still alive in this match. He has used a Shadow Bomb to position himself perfectly for the next rotation. Is building up, kind of taking mid-ground at this point. There are only 7 players. Make that 6 left in this lobby, 5 duos. So this is almost a solo game at this point.
Yeah, and now he got the other duo knocked, so it is a straight-up solo game. If he can convert on that, it will go through, and he's into the top 5. So a huge play despite Flame going down. Conversion does go through, and he finds Kosa as well. So now straight-up solos. 9 elims on Unique. It's a 1v1, and this was for all the money. Unique wanted it to be enough. He was sitting there. This was their second to last game. They needed to clutch out. They needed every single point possible, and will he be able to find it? We're watching the left side of the screen right now as Unique disengages down towards the bottom. Matt up on the high ground again as he's trying to run him around and find an angle. One thing to note, only has 6 mats and only has the redeploy, which is a top-down mechanic, so he wants to sneak a shot on him. He knows he has to save mats. Hello!
He jumped the rocket!
What? What? That's ridiculous!
He jumped the rocket!
It went up onto the low ground, just being a tile of a square away. Gets the first shot with the combat. Now he has the pressure. He finds his zone. He has to go forward, though, because here's the change in elevation. He finds the first shot. Can he find the second? And he does! He finds it! 7 HP left. Gets the siphon to tick over. Unique puts it on his back. 24 points. 14 eliminations and the victory royale. Look at the fossil. Look at the plays. The Vietnamese duo doing it. They said, we don't need 0 ping. We don't need to take your walls. We'll do it with style. We'll do it with execution, and we'll do it with coordination. But now we're hopping over back into live games. This isn't stuff from last night or early this morning, depending on where you live. This is from Brazil. We're going all the way down to South America, and now on board with Nothing, No Name, and Clipnode. Clipnode, who actually grabbed the final solo qualification spot last week.
Yeah, congratulations to him. We saw him absolutely playing out of his mind. He 100% deserves that because Clipnode is somebody who, when we first started this whole journey with World Cup, I really wasn't sure who he was, but we've seen him time and time again be extremely consistent just with utilizing, all of the things that he's learned so far. To see him qualify last week, sneak that in. But now he's here with Nothing, No Name, and they are certainly trying to make names for themselves today. Clipnode using that launch pad to rotate over. Tons of players left in this lobby, so things might get a little bit dicey for him. This terrain is going to be extremely difficult for these players to navigate. We see these 2 massive mountains in the middle here. The amount of high ground and materials they're going to need to come into play to make these rotations easy for everyone is going to be something to witness for sure.
I hate end games over here.
I love them.
I don't do particularly well in those circumstances. Oh, hello! Great edits coming out from Clipnode. Gets the heavy snipe on the box across. Catches the hot potato grenade midway through. Hello, there's another one. Can he get over in the box? Great re-edit as well. If he didn't close it, would have taken damage there. But this is what a World Cup qualifier looks like. The individual plays to get away from that. And man, the guy with the grenade launcher on the low ground is just pinging them into those windows.
He's not missing a shot at all. I don't know if I would ever say that term with a grenade launcher. You're not missing shots, but he was absolutely nailing those. Now, like you said, you don't like being over here, but this is what it's all about to me. Anybody can, not anybody, but it's much easier to be on very flat terrain, tunnel through. This is what I love to see. This brings out the actual skill sets of these players. It shows us, how mechanically gifted they are, how much they've practiced, how much time they've put into doing scrims and doing arenas, and just showing us why they're here, why they're trying to qualify, and hopefully get those spots to New York.
Yeah, and you do see that Storm Surge is on the right-hand side. What Storm Surge is if a certain number of players are alive and the lobby gets a little too active, the people who have been the most passive will be punished. But because we're down below 30 players, it's turned off and will no longer be active. We've now hit top 15 and we're into those first round of placement points. Now remember, top 15 is 3 points. If you're able to get in the top 10, it nets you an additional 2 for 5. Top 5 gets you 2 more, and then the Victory Royale is 3 for a total of 10. And generally, if you're qualifying for the World Cup, you're looking for a 50-50 split. You need high placements and you need high eliminations. The balanced approach is what gets you there. As you can see right now, Clip Noted, Nothing No Name, 11 eliminations so far in closing in on top 10.
And they get rifted up into the sky there. That definitely was not Clip Nodes. I don't believe it was Nothing No Means either. That would have been a completely other player trying to get out of a little bit of a sticky situation there by using the rift. You can see No Name landing on the high ground, utilizing that community launch pad to pull himself back over to his teammate, because they did get separated for a short moment there. Clip Node has actually used the launch pad as well. Or was still up in the air, but it isn't going to matter. He goes down. Unfortunately, lands in the box of another player. Missed is missed, takes him out.
Right, but Nothing No Name was directly underneath it and edited him down in between. He's gonna try and stick this revive, and he does. He got it. Can they edit back over? They got the next box. He's on sub 30 HP, and he gets back in. He has 10 HP. Will they be able to find anything? Player behind. Flipnote goes back down. Can he find it? No. Gets picked up, but they got the top 10. So 12 elim points plus the 5 going through. 17-point performance from Clipnote and Nothing No Name, but they're not going to be a factor in the rest of the lobby. You have Solinho and Seko on the low ground. Matakuski and Ernie just above them with Falls and Ducky 1 tarp above. Solinho does have 1 more chug splash and could use it potentially, but wants to hold off. Waiting for top 5 for the next threshold as W Key Edit picks up Obi, and we get closer and closer. Lua gets ticked over, and now we have 7 duos remaining. Solinho just taking a little bit of a breather, swapping up on their mats while all the action happens above him. Esteban picks up Ducky, and we close in on the top 5. Trap arms and goes off above, but no elimination. Ticks over as the Soccer Skins continue to look. Poised Playmaker wants to make a play, but they also want top 5, constantly checking their sides, realizing they're okay right now. And I mean, man, they're running low on mats.
They are running low on mats, but they do own all of this. So hopefully, you know, they're going to be able to utilize that to their advantage. Edit down just like that. He takes out Expert. You know, that is the advantage of having all of those builds to yourself. You completely dominate the mid and low ground with edits when you have that. Ernie going down, falling to Soul. Soul gets another shot, 98 with a combat shotgun. It isn't going to be enough. Can his teammate follow out? Seago's out in the storm, but does come back in. Seago's sitting on very little HP, about 50 effective HP to his name right now, and they have to play low ground right now because they don't have a choice.
It's a 2v2. You have MST and his partner Esteban in the top right. Seko in the bottom right with Solinho. Everything else on the Y. Solinho looking for the angle. Player drops out into the side. This MAST going for it, but Seko gets the first knock. The flint knock is off into the sky. The fall damage, hello. Can he catch himself and get back into the zone? Will it be enough? Solinho's tracking him in. No, it's not enough. Solinho picks up the double, throws a nice little pumpernickel, then into the iconic. Break it down, let him know. Throw a hootenanny in there as well, and a great finish. And also, Pookie, I got to give you a shout out right there. The way you called just the edit down and the fact how he was looking for it and then it happened immediately after. I just, in my head, I'm like, man, they're burning so many of their builds. Like, this seems like a waste, but just spot on with that right there. So hats off to you. Nice little clap. Well done.
Thank you. Don't let my ego get too big, Sundown, you know, or else I'm not going to be able to fit through the door later.
I live with Zeke. I'm an expert at knocking people down a peg.
Perfect. Can't wait for this game for you to say something to just completely catch me off guard. But here we are in another match. We're looking at King and Zone. They hit that snipe. You guys know how much I love seeing those heavy snipe shots. They're my absolute favorite. This is what I have come here to see today. Give me the snipe shots all day, Cam.
Oh, it's both the best and the worst feeling. Like, yes, it feels great when you get it, but at the same time, when you're just rotating around, you're hanging out in your box, and you feel like, hey, maybe I got my one layer, I can peek on a side, then all of a sudden, boom, boom. Or like you're jumping all the way around your 360, you're checking your side, and you just get your face ripped off, and you know, it feels awful. And even sometimes you're launch padding going through and somebody hits that shot. That feels great for them. The player who jump padded over, not so much. But King and X-Zone trying to make the plays. King actually recently getting signed to that 9Z team going over. Originally was King, I will not lose, has qualified for the solos portion. The young Argentinian doing everything he can to reach it in the duo side. Him and X-Zone have been so close.
Taking a few shots there, having them pay off. Still sitting on high ground, though, with the heavy sniper. Come on, King, give us another snipe shot, dude. But you see him here just looking for any kind of players that were trying to come out of the zone there and get to safety. He's not going to let it happen. He's saying, you know what? I'm king of the high ground here. I'm going to gatekeep you all day.
Yes, he's going to look towards the outside there. Not going to acknowledge the pun. It was a pretty good one. I'll give you that. As Lucky Boy and Luco Boy over on the side here. 7 elims as we're closing in on the first placement threshold. And honestly, shout outs to Brazil. They've stepped their level up every single week. Some of their qualification barriers actually ending up being higher than NA West in some of those circumstances in the duo week. So just a really high level of competition, and just the fact that it's pushed up every single week. You can see Storm Surge coming through there, and Lottie getting a great shot with the combat there. And that's what we talked about, kind of the difference of the timer, being able to just throw the combat out there, get the wall shot in, and then immediately swap back over it. So now he's going to try to go aggressive because he wants to convert on that.
And you can hear all of the shadow bombs going off behind. He's going to have to be very careful. He isn't built behind him, so there could possibly be players sneaking in behind. But he is going to continue to try to edit forward. Picks up another elimination on Nis and Greg. They both fall to him there.
Yeah, and that was the double, is them trying to stick the revive. And at that point, man, you just got to let your teammate go.
Yeah.
Let him be hanging about. You let your buddy and be like, hey, you know what, it's been a good run, but I'm going to go try and get those placement points. They fell outside of the top 15, so it's huge because you waste, I don't want to say waste all the time because you get whatever elim points, but not getting at least the 3 placement points from top 15, it hurts. It hurts the mental game, it hurts your score, it hurts your efficiency in terms of getting the points, as now we're on board with Barboisa, Lee, Golden Boy's favorite, as him and Zodi Boy are trying to make a run at it, currently sitting on 5, make it 6 elims and 33 points and a great loadout.
Yeah, and he just completely obliterated Les there. So Lee takes out Les. That's a good one. That's an interesting one for later. But he does throw the stink bomb down. Now, we've seen time and time again those being extremely strong. And Zate just gets completely annihilated. Lee now opting to utilize the shadow bomb. Says hello to the baller to his right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen. But then uses the small amount of high ground down there to maybe get any kind of eliminations on people coming into the zone.
Yeah, so if you sneak up on a baller near the outside of the zone and you're in like a late game storm, pickaxe it once and then immediately shoot it out. It'll send them flying out into the zone and you'll get elim credit. Boom, there you go, there's the strat.
Wow, look at these mad strats coming out of Sundown today.
Check Creo's VODs, he does it all the time and it's hysterical because it's one of the consistently easy ways to get elims on players who don't react, because if they don't instantly throw down the grapple and boost forward, they're gone because the momentum persists as soon as the ball breaks, so it'll send them flying out into the zone. It's great.
You know, where have you been for the last 2 years when I've been trying to improve my Fortnite game? I need you to coach me here.
I mean, you can watch the broadcasts and stuff. I drop hints and knowledge like this. It's called the Sundown Rundown or Sit Down with Sundown, whichever one you want. Maybe someday I'll get the leeway to do my super serious serial Sunday with Sundown, but
that is a lot of alliteration there.
Oh, trust me, it's Fortnite. It's all alliterative. But we're getting closer now to that top 5. 11 elims so far from King and X-Zone. X-Zone saying, I will not lose. I want to be on that stage with my buddy King, and King being one of those young prodigies out of the SA region, along with Nyx, doing everything they can from this low ground. How well can they execute and get around the side? Body Boy picks up Gozer there and continues his run forward, knowing it'll be ticked over, but King trades him right back, just inside or just outside the top 5. You can see him wall off the player and want to stick with the zone as it's running out. 10 players remaining, 6 duos left right now as they look for the space. Gozer does finally tick over, but Lottie had been eliminated, and Clement didn't 90 fast enough there. Couldn't cover himself. 13th Elim. King has 11 of them as him and X-Zone are working down on the tarp, but Barboisa is trying to do everything he can as he frags himself into the top 5, picking up a double. You have Bravo in your top right and King in the bottom right as he gets another one onto Tade. They're the only duo left in the bottom right. Barboisa gets Franz. Will he tick over? No, Bravo takes it up, and we have a 2v1 with double campfires on the low ground. Heavy snipers as well. Knock Bravo down. This is one of the top duos. This is a team to keep an eye on. King and X-Zone, 43 points with the victory royale. 25 from that match, Pookie.
Yeah, coming out with 15 eliminations between the two of them. Now, you've said it so many times, you know, getting the placement and getting the eliminations are so important in these games to make sure that you are hitting top of the leaderboard every single week, and we just saw a perfect example of it coming out from those guys right there. Congratulations to them. We can see here for the Brazil games, we only have about 40 minutes remaining, so these games are going to be some of the last ones for these guys, depending on how long they are able to survive. Each match going approximately 20 minutes, so you need to plan your time accordingly and make sure that you are getting the most out of these games, because time and time again we've seen it come down to just a few points, so every point matters.
I mean, we've seen it very frequently coming down to less than a few points. Like we've gone, I think we've gone 2 tiebreakers deep at some point. I think the most we've had to go on is 3-1, so I might have to double check that. I know Creo went 2 deep on his when he ended up advancing. But one thing I do want to talk about is kind of the mentality about playing for late. It's something that you've heard all the time in the Fortnite community, but a lot of people don't really understand. Like, there's a big proponent around the idea of W keying or playing aggressive, and taking early aggressive fights when you can gun race and you know you have an advantage. For instance, if you pick up a combat early, or if you pick up a legendary AR at range, or even a green AR before somebody is able to get set and really get a ton of mats, you can pressure somebody and you can go full send and you can go aggro and you can create an advantage for yourself. But in the general run of the game, taking an even fight against players who are roughly as skilled as you or even slightly less, they're going to be able to chip you out. And most players are going to be able to at least delay you or make it worth the time unless you're significantly better than them, right? So then if you end up being able to be a little more passive, playing a little safer, working around the outside, being more deliberate in how you rotate and get to places, this is called playing for late. Because then you get in these circumstances where you have all the mats, you have the resources, and you're in a more chaotic environment, but you're not knocked out way before taking a 50-50 fight, and all of a sudden we've seen the number of times you win 1 key engagement on the low ground or 1 key engagement on the mid ground, and all of a sudden you take high ground away, or 1 turns into 3 or 4. But you don't get those opportunities if you don't make it to late game.
Exactly. I could not have said that better myself. You know, the thing is too, is early game, you never know what the other player is going to have that you're going up against. You know, you might feel that you're sitting pretty and you've got a great loader. You're like, you know what, I got this combat shotgun, I'm just going to rush. The other guy could be sitting there with an RPG. You haven't shielded up. You're back to the lobby, Sundown. So, you know, not knowing what the other players have is always, you know, that component of the game that can really actually help or hurt you.
And look, right now, as Andrea and Troy has some great gatekeeping on the side, keeping those players who are trying to rotate with their backs at the storm from entering it. Up to 9 elimination now as bot 6 does tick over, and you can see you use your utility, you get as far over as you can, and then you box up and you turn. The combats and the ARs being the primary benefactors right now from what we've seen today in the meta, and then going triple utility out of there. Andrea not getting the chip there, unfortunately, got a ton of damage, but no Elim credit, is going to pick up all of those resources and tops off with a lot of wood and metal.
Yeah, and we have seen time and time again today, you know, just with how many utility items players are carrying, because the utility items in this game right now are so strong. We did just hit the top 15 threshold. A couple more teams go down so quickly, Sunday. We're about to hit that top 10.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm a huge fan right now of the 9.30 loop pool. Just seeing more utility and more shields being opened up for players has kind of enabled them. And then with the adjustments, we've seen players rocking multiple gun loadouts, but we've also seen players going straight for the utility phase. The Chug Splash is offering a lot there, but some nades coming out, trying to get the chip in. They snuck one in, but good coverage as we now hit the top 10. So 5 placement points for everyone in here. So far, this is a 16-point game for Andreoli and Troya.
And he is going to take a moment here, hopefully, he looked like he was going to cone himself in there and try to use the minis, but he isn't unfortunately going to have time. The storm is right at his back, and he is dealing with a player in front of him that he is using all of his builds for here to kind of take cover from. He's only got 21 builds remaining. He is above Loot Lake, so that adds a whole nother level. And unfortunately, Troya does actually go down to the player that they were tracking earlier, and Andreoli actually doesn't know where these shots are coming from. He's getting shot from everywhere at this point. He's being focused. He does end up taking a player out to get that siphon down to 29 effective health. It isn't going to be enough. Tried to use that launch pad to get out, but unfortunately he falls.
Yeah, and it was Santidad who picked him up there, and he's on the mid-tarp. Easy for Blackops and got picked up, as well as DK. So this is a ton of Brazil's top players, but Santidad goes down, and we have our top 3. Now, top 2. It's a 2v2 with Nehu and Ziox up on the high ground, the other team working the low ground. They have the tarp in between as well. They know that they're in the box on the side. They're looking for him. They have marks towards him. They know the players are there. You can see the outlines in purple right now as the Sinisters is trying to get an angle on the side. Raja and Softy are working back around, but they need to be careful because here comes that change in elevation, and you can already see Zukix trying to knock down the tree, preventing no cover. Raja has absolutely no builds. He always going to try to hit the brick and get back up, and he can't. That's the little change in elevation we talked about. Softy gets taken down, and Zukix picks that one up. Flintknock does get picked up. He's on an all-weapon loadout. Nothing left. And Zukix finds it there. Brilliantly done, pushing them up to 35 points after an 18-pointer. Just well done there. But we're going to send it back over to the studio with Zeke and Bala, I think?
How rude of you. You know Bala. He's the best ever. Don't yell at me. Gosh. All right, Fortnite fan. We've had an incredible day of games so far. But now we're going to take things just a little bit slow here before our 30-minute break here. We've obviously got to take a look at Oceania, Asia, and that live looking at Brazil. But very quickly, we actually have a little bit of a treat. We're going to be able to chat with Klusha and Thomas HD, who qualified. So, gentlemen, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
What's up, guys? What's up? How are you guys doing?
We are so happy, dude.
Yeah, you guys are so happy? Okay, all right, let's start with Klusha. Tell me the feels,
What's
right?
up?
You see your name up on that leaderboard. What is the very first thing that you did?
We just moves and got a lot of points, just casual, like other days, dude.
Okay, okay. What about you, Thomas? What was the first thing you did? As soon as you saw you qualified, what was the first thing?
I was just checking the whole time. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, okay, okay, all right. So this is kind of a big moment for both of you guys. You know, you've worked so hard for these last 10 weeks of competition. What does it feel like for you guys to finally say, look, all that hard work, that time we've put into Fortnite, it's paying off. We're going to the finals. And how does your family, like, have you told your family, do they kind of understand, you know, what that feels like? We'll start with Thomas.
My family is cool about it, and we're all happy. So I think it's just, I'm so happy, and we're happy.
Yeah, for sure. Klusha, what about you, my man?
What did you say? What was the question?
So for you guys to have worked so hard for 10 weeks to finally get that spot, qualify for New York, and then does your family kind of know what's going on? Do they kind of understand?
Yeah, they do. I qualified in week 5 for solos, so that's when they kind of understood how serious it is.
Yeah.
Like.
And to double up now, I mean, that's crazy. What an accomplishment, right? The double qualification is insane. And it's only a few of you guys, right? But talk to me about learning throughout the 10 weeks. I mean, we've played 5 duos competition now, and the clutch up in the last one is pretty crazy. But learning about not only how to play these types of tournaments, these open qualifiers, and timing. I mean, in that last match, we saw you know, it was a little bit of a lobby, but obviously with that kind of, when you play out those light lobbies, you end up not having an opportunity to play again. So was that the strategy? Was that you trying to get into one of those lobbies?
No, we were actually trying to get into a game after the last game. We had 2 minutes of queuing, but we didn't make it into a game, so
just
kind
making
of unlucky.
sweat.
But yeah,
we were
sat there
sweating
sweating for the last 20 minutes to make the leaderboards update.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, massive congrats. We cannot wait to see you
Thank
guys
you,
at the
thank
New York City Finals. Very quickly, what we'd like to do is open the floor. You guys to get some shout outs, send out some love, plug your Twitters, your socials, all that stuff. Thomas, let's start your way, and then we'll go to Kalusha.
Shout out to Monkey Face for bringing us together.
Any social plugs?
Thomas HD on Twitter.
Thomas HD on Twitter. Man, a few words. I like that. Kalusha, let's send it your way. Shout outs, social plugs, thank yous, all of it.
Yeah, I want to shout out Kasernen. It's the Discord for the Danish guys. We're just hanging out in there, and I want to shout out my Twitch, Kalusha, and my Twitter, Kalusha, by the way.
Kalusha, by the way, there you go. Very easy to find these two. Again, guys, massive congrats. We'll see you in New York City, and of course, we'll have to grab a slice of pizza.
Bye, guys. Congrats.
Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you later. And there you go. We get to talk with Kalusha and Thomas. A little bit of insight there. You know, that you could tell they're just so excited to have qualified. Again, all that 10 weeks of prep work. You know, you can really tell that they've grinded. You know, they've poured their heart and soul into the game. And for them, it paid out.
And double qualification, too, is unreal. And over 10 weeks now, they get to, you know, take a little bit of a breather, a little bit, because, you know, they're going to hop right back on that grind ahead of July. It's going to be crazy.
For sure. Now, very quickly, before we go, there was a little bit of a mix-up, so really quickly we wanted to show correct standings for OCE prizing and Asia prizing. So this is actually, don't forget, Serpent and Hype are the ones that have made it through from OCE, and the prizing there is on the right side. Just a little bit of a mix-up there on the numbers. And then very quickly, we'll hop on over to Asia's, take a look there as well. Again, the players going through are correct. It was just a little bit of a typo there, a little bit of a mix-up. Things happen, you know. But of course, Fortnite fan, we thank you guys so much for hanging out. Again, if there's people that have qualified that you are unfamiliar with, just send them a follow, send them some love. They've worked so hard, and now they can say they've punched their ticket to the finals in New York City. But Bala, of course, we got to go to the 30-minute break. We got to get some food, all right? And then, of course, when we come back, we've got NA East up on deck. So don't go too far, Fortnite fam. We'll see you guys in 30 minutes.
Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos Royale with brunch. Red juices, a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some nums.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we're going to talk about the Tactical Assault Rifle and its addition to competitive play.
The Tactical Assault Rifle is probably one of the best additions to the game. It's a long-range weapon where you could save AR ammo if you have a drum gun.
Small bullet you can find everywhere, so it's a good weapon.
The Tactical AR is an uncommon, epic, and legendary weapon that utilizes light ammunition and has a high rate of fire. It does 22, 23, or 24 damage depending on rarity, has a pretty fast first shot accuracy timer, and a dope reloading animation. I mean, come on, just look at it. We've seen a lot of competitive players opt into using the Tactical Assault Rifle over the course of the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers. So let's hear from some of the players who qualified for the finals and get their thoughts on the TAC AR's addition to the game.
It's really good. Like really, really good. Once you get to endgame scenarios like fifth zone and beyond, it absolutely beams. It's very, very viable in meta right now. Everybody's been using it.
I like it because you could actually sneak up on someone. It has this low sound, so it's hard to hear.
It has its viability due to its first shot accuracy that can make it really strong, and the fall off damage isn't as strong as it was for the silent SMG, which got vaulted.
I reckon the gun's awesome for endgame because if you've got height, that gun can really get a lot of eliminations because it's like a laser, and people endgame tend to have less HP than they would towards the early and mid game. So I think it's really strong in situations.
Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the Tactical Assault Rifle, and when do you like to use it? Send us your opinions using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and I'll see you on the battle bus, or maybe on the high ground with a TAC AR.
What's up, Fortnite fam?
Today, we're going to be playing for $3 million for charity, folks, and it is going to be an incredible time.
50 of your favorite Fortnite personalities will be paired up with 50 celebrities put on this fantastic stage.
It's going to be awesome. It's duos, so we've seen it before at the Pro-Am last year, and it's always a blast. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
The first match of the Summer Block Party Pro-Am is beginning right now.
They're putting down pressure. No one's safe now. That's one Elim right there. Can he get a second? That is going to get followed up.
Because he desperately needs materials. A player behind, 102 to the face. Look at this, he's just waiting for a full send. It's Symphony. He shuts him down. It's a 1v1. Who is the other player that's left?
Oh! Here it is. He's going to go with the X. Oh! Airwalks.
Wow.
Dude, that was aggressive. Look at him go here. Just beating down players. No weapons. Doesn't even need them.
Wants this. Look at this. Aiden's just supplying pressure.
Oh, tries to go to the high ground.
This might have been a mistake. This is Aiden. We're talking about more damage. Bucky's down to nothing. And Aiden, victory royale.
Ball, it doesn't connect with the shot. Marshawn Lynch hits 75 blue.
One great shot connects up, comes up over top. It's a second right there, and the Rifter goes out.
Oh, she's on the run. She's chasing it down.
You're not gonna let this one go away. Oh no, no, you know you're a solo. No turning back now.
35 wide on that damage there, and Ewok got the target. One build remaining, and that's it. He's gonna land in front of him, and typical gamer. Final game. Typical gamer pops up behind Janina. Oh, the rage. At this point in time, not looking the best when it comes to the. Oh no!
Final moments, Golden Boy.
This is it right here, the 1v1. It's going to be Aiden going up against Symphony, pushing forward, forcing the activity. Oh! Symphony with the victory royale! Your winner of the second Fortnite Pro-Am is RL Grime and Airwalks!
I'm a big fan of competitive Fortnite and watching it, so this has been really cool to be involved with.
That was easy, actually.
Easy peasy.
meet the final beasts out of the East, who will join Dubs and Mega, Cease and Elevate, and Zayt and Saf out of this packed region. Ghost, Demo, and Bizzle have come so close, with just a single Shadow Bomb rotation being the difference between their trip to the final as a duo or not so far. Can they clutch up in the final week and put their high execution style strategy to work? And the question everyone wants answered: can Tfue and Cloaksy or Ninja and Reverse make it to the Fortnite World Cup final? Both have come so incredibly close in different duo weeks, and both have the eyes of everyone in the Fortnite and gaming world on them. Will these Titans move on, or will someone else rise above them in the final moments?
What's going on, Fortnite fam? We are back, and welcome to continued coverage of Fortnite World Cup Online Open Qualifiers. We're hanging out with our best friend Sundown, who's getting that real deep. Very proud of you there. Anyway, Fortnite fam, welcome. Let's go ahead and refresh your memory. All right, and we know we've been gone for a little while. All right, so let's get the memory going. All right, we'll start with the schedule. Don't forget, Oceania and Asia have already concluded. Europe as well as done. We're hopping into NA East games in here in just a moment, and we'll wrap the day later on with NA West. Don't forget, we also pushed everything back 1 hour, so that's why those times might look a little new. Now, of course, we are back to duo competition, which means top 15, top 10, and of course, 5 in the victory hour, all those placement thresholds. Every elimination is, of course, a point. Don't forget about that crazy prize pool. $2 million. Every single placement spot on the board will be doubled. Do not forget about that. That is huge. Now, of course, guys, a $2 million prize pool is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But what's more important are those qualifying spots. 4 were up for grabs in Europe, 3 in NA East, 1 in West, 1 in Asia, Brazil, Oceania, of course. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of Fortnite action today. And I mean, it's just going to continue getting better. Don't forget, we're hopping into NA East here in just a moment. But first, we kind of touched on it before this last little break. We got a new competitive Twitter, FN Fortnite. Is that what it is? FN Competitive.
Fortnite is a good one. FN Competitive, as Monster would say.
FN Fortnite.
Check out the medias. It's where we're going to be posting a ton of stuff in terms of competitive, whether it's highlights, polls, tips and trick, VOD reviews, creator content, whatever you are looking for in terms of the creative side, competitive side.
I got you.
Will be on there.
FN
Competitive, you can check it out right there. But as Zeke said, 5 more spots are up for grabs. We hopped into Brazil a little bit before the break. They'll be wrapping it up. We'll have those final standings in a bit, but now we're going to jump into NA East, where 3 of the last 5 spots are up for grabs, and let's take a look at where the standings have shaken out so far. So first, only 2 or max 3 games have been played so far, but Slacks and Keys up top, 38 in the spread. We always talk about it, 9 points so far separating. So that's a decent buffer after your first 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with already a victory out under the belt, it's got to feel really, really good. But don't forget, we're still just kind of beginning games out. We're still feeling these games out. It is finals day, the final chance to punch your ticket to the finals in New York City. So I would expect to see the standings shift, especially if a group or two has like a really standout game. You know, we're talking a 20-point game. We could see this shift dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, a 20-point game would definitely shake it up. But to be said, like, that was a lot of players in NA East who we've seen a lot of. 72 Hours in Vivid. You had Naga Ops and Kenneth up there, Z-Laner and his partner. So it's no strangers to the top 10, and they're going to look to keep that pace up there. Aircool, also shout out to him. So a lot of those previous Summer Skirmish veterans showing up in Week 10.
That's right. Everyone is putting everything on the line to try and punch their ticket to the finals. But now, Fortnite fam, we're not going to keep you up too much longer. Let's get ready to hop into some games. Remember, we have a new person joining us. That is Shia Wager, and we have Bala TW to get us through all these games. Gentlemen, please, after you.
Thank you so much, Zeke and Sundown. I appreciate it, and I just cannot wait to get in these games. Shayo, I'm excited to cast with you for the first time. It's going to be great, the VOD review duo coming in. But you know what else I'm more excited for? We are getting into some NA East games, and there's so many names who have yet to qualify, Shayo.
All the big names, Cloaksy, Tfue. We've got Tom at the top with Vivid right now. It's going to be a dope time. Experience that you don't want to miss. I want to get right to it, Balla.
Yeah, let's get into it. The games are ready. Let's go right now into the first couple of NA East games. I mean, Shayo, this Vivid, Tom, I mean, Tfue, Cloak, Bizzle, Demo. There's way too many names to list that could still qualify. There's only 3 spots to grab them.
A lot of people, and the hole's really small to fit in through, so we'll see getting right into it with Ghost Assault going to be going up towards a mid-ground layer. About the 5th zone, just locking in a very prime position as well on the zone wall. He's going to be trying to get up in height just to see if he can have a better vantage point on everyone around him. We are in the snow biome, a lot of hills available, also a lot of different types of sight lines available for different duos in different layers of height.
Yeah, and this Assault and Innocence duo from Ghost, I mean, they have been probably actually one of the most consistent duos throughout NA East and throughout the World Cup overall. Both controller players, both, you know, part of that controller gang and crowd that people are looking to have one at least full duo qualify. Still, it hasn't happened yet.
Absolutely. Right now, it just looks like they're going to be playing safe. These guys are up in the top 10 of the leaderboard. They're going to make sure they want to replicate those results they've had in these first 2 games. We talk about the way you play games now. It's been 10 weeks. It is duels as well, so there's more brains at your strategy. A big double heavy snipe coming in. Not sure if, yeah, it was both duos synchronizing that at the same time. Sometimes you can pick up on a heavy snipe that's coming off from across the server as well. A lot of action going on now. Vertical sight lines coming through. Some desynchronization on that floor placement there. We're going to see what they can do as we go to a big aerial shot of the entire snow biome at the moment.
And yeah, talk to me, Shayo, about the mobility that these players are all starting to use. We're about to come up onto that, you know, that 6th zone waiting period before it starts moving. But everybody's trying to make their plans and even getting some double heavy snipers in. We already saw one tick through, and now Painful goes down. His teammate Tyler's trying to get away, and I think he is going to manage to do that, but not before Assault and Innocence grab from those spoils.
You talk about the mobility. That was the priority there from Assault getting in, just picking up that jump pad as well as topping off his smokes all the way up to 6. Very smart stuff in and out, making sure he doesn't get too much pressure from other duos as everyone looks for those free loot piles near the end of the game. Now we have Fernando on a mid-ground layer as well. Erupt Slades is here as well. We'll see what he can do. Volz and Slades might be using 2 different names amongst each other. All these players switching up their names. 2Chen's going down as they hold up the Stormline pressure from their mid-ground tarped layer. A lot of chug splashes available from this duo as well. Now using Stinks. We'll see if they can play off of them or look for another angle. Going to be pushing towards Germ goes down from that Stink. Unfortunate there. They're going to be on a low ground layer, though they're going to have to move up at any moment here before the action starts seeping in from zone 6.
Oh, and unfortunately they're split heavily as we go up over Polar Peak. That launch pad's not going to get him all the way up, but you can see Keo and Imshoots right now using those shadow bombs to full effect to get up the mountain. Keo unfortunately falling down and taking a little bit of storm damage, and I think that's going to be the end of him. Yes, does fall down, and the rest of these players also trying to do it. I mean, I just saw probably 3 duos total go down right now. Devious and Frosty, Wildo and his duo as well. That's crazy.
They call Polar Peak the great filter of the Fortnite competitive scene, as it's always about, do you have that rotation, do you have the mobility, or do you have the smarts to get up with your mats? Not only that, where do you base up after that on shambles or not? We see Niddle also on the top 5 at the moment with his duo Casker, sitting not at that much white health, but that Siphon can click in, especially off of sitting in that ball, looking for that opportune moment to get the guaranteed damage and elimination to make sure he stays on top for those 8th and 9th zone big pop-off moments.
See, almost taking those opportunities out of the baller right there. As a couple players rotated directly in front of him, but for now, just outlasting the rest of the server. And hey, that's a good strategy, especially, you know, with these, look how many ballers there are right now, and they are having a good time on Polar Peak because they can climb and fall as fast as they want, no matter what, with those grapplers.
Absolutely. You talk about insurance as well. It's awesome when there's a lot of people moving around and maybe 1 or 2 ballers, but when you have so many ballers together, you talk about the insurance behind that mobility. Niddle, the Rift to go, now going to get out. Big shots coming in. Karos going down, in and out of there. A nice burger combo coming in as Niddle now goes all the way down. The mountain going to go back up if it does bounce back. Yes, it does. Moving back towards this huge high ground tarp layer. A lot of other natural ground to be mimicked and manipulated towards as well as they move up through this entire snow biome at the moment. Caster and Noodle surprisingly together as well. Very hard to stay together off of balls too when you are moving in these chaotic environments.
Unfortunately, that zone just went on the edge, so a lot of the players who were going onto low ground ended up being able to just come right back up without having to go down. But then Casker and Niddle with the rift play, trying to take high ground. They do take it from Tuxi, and his teammate Nut is somewhere looking for sure, but they have high ground now, and that is what they need. They have the advantage. They have all the position to win this game.
This is all part of the game plan. This is Niddle's consistent strategy. It's always near zone 7 or 8 where he goes for that last-minute high ground take and then just starts to trickle down. We see that in international regions. Brazil does it really well. DK, as he just goes down tarp by tarp, moving like this. Zextro getting popped. His duo, Vinny, going down as well as these guys are now moving towards it. Niddle bombarding the server with his positional advantage above everyone else. Metal doesn't matter when there's two people shooting at you at the same time. White shots coming in, a trap coming down to delay that elimination coming through from Casker as he has vertical pressure. Niddle with that horizontal pressure unfortunately did not work out. He goes down, but Casker with the quick drop down, can he capitalize off of this position that he's in on height at the moment?
That player Puffin got chunked all the way down to what looks like 1 HP there, and then I think they did end up cleaning up, but no, Casker still having height, but Assault way down below. There is so much of a height difference here. Assault could capitalize if he just looks right back in his zone and knocks out either one of these teams. I believe they're going down as Casker takes out Top Gun, and then all the way down, he does have that redeploy, so it's now Assault versus Puffin, and the rift up from the top. Casker is coming straight down. Assault is going to take care of Puffin as he was low HP, and now in the zone. Casker looking to find exactly where he needs to go. He's going to get 1 or 2 layers above Assault. Assault slowing the pace down a little bit. He still has a lot of materials to work with, and we're getting down to those final seconds of this zone. Casker versus Assault. Here comes the ramp out into the zone. He does get a shot. Now it's Assault with the HP advantage, but flicks. Casker with the flick shot onto Assault. He's going to take that game by himself as Niddle combines with him to 8 elimination and 18 points in that game.
Amazing control of knowing when to drop down, when to stay up. Casker playing that insurance. We talked about it with balls, but even as a duo, being sure you're split up and covering for each other's losses will always net you that win at the end.
And I'm already just giggling to myself right here because Tim the Tatman and Wildcat is the first players we're going to be hopping in with on board. With them 1 point in this game, this could be one of their first couple.
One big topic in the Fortnite community as well is the content creators versus the competitive players and their success in getting games done, getting those qualifying spots secured. Blue damage coming out from Tim. Can he see that the individual that he was shooting at, Remdog, is going to have a weakness on his left side wall? He's going to go for that blue, but it's not enough. Not enough dynamic building. In a bad position, he gets beamed down, but the pressure's still coming in from Tim as he bobs down on metal tarps with his duo Wildcat. These guys are going to be showing everyone else that, hey, even though I stream Fortnite for fun a lot of the time throughout the day and make dope content, I can hang out with the big dogs as well and pop off when the moment's right.
Hey, they were both at that Pro-Am, and here they're perfectly executing a pinch as they get shot a little bit, but I think they still have it. Yes, Wildcat's going to take down that player, and Tim's going to get the finish.
Doing that classic animal aspect, right wall, left wall, showdown there on that other duo that they just cleaned up in record time. Not sure where the other individual is, but it's just big pop-off moments.
So maybe they learned something at the Pro-Am, right?
Absolutely.
That high-pressure, high-stakes situation, they played on that stage that a lot of these players are vying and fighting to get on at the end of July.
Absolutely. Talk about high pressure. Now we're on high ground where the pressure is very different, as this is the moment where you have to capitalize. Make sure you get as many eliminations and pick up your points where you can, because it's not only about winning games. You have to be dynamic enough to pick up on advantages, get those elim points, get a nice 50-50 split on what you're doing. You can't just be complacent and play these games bopping and Ghost is lost. Up top shooting at, oh, never mind. Can they get that beam off the sky? Yes, they do, as he comes rocketing down to the ground, landing below. We'll see who picks up that loot in just a second. One smoke grenade left for Ghost, so not that much insurance as we talked about before, but we'll see if he can make his position. It is the best one on the server, right behind where the storm is going to be rotating to, and we'll see if he can pop off from that moment as well.
So here now, 6 zone starting to move. You said it was the best position possible in the server, and I just have to wonder, why is that Shio? I mean, they have the high ground, and their back is. What's going on here with Ghost and Boppin?
So in this position, as you can see, they get a nice theater widescreen 16:9 native view on the entire rest of the map, moving straight towards them. And they don't have to use as many mats at all. People can rotate below them. They can follow tarps. They just are allowed to do anything they want on their own pace when you have height right behind the storm. It makes it so that the storm moves onto you. You control the pace of the game. But if you do tunnel vision like they are now, sometimes you get left behind on the storm. Snaz FN, this aim is ridiculous, as 2 people have now been beamed. 6 eliminations across both individuals who are still maintaining height, which is a very difficult feat from the 5th zone all the way to the end. We'll see if it's possible. Now waterfalls coming down. It's very, very hard to have that mat management and be able to still move forward, moving zone to moving zone, as the distances are so far. At this moment, though, we see them utilizing just 1 tarp layers. Hold Her Hand getting knocked by Ghost. Swervo on the low ground as well, doing a lot of work, seeing if he can survive and get up top. Just look at this big view of the map moving forward, all metal.
And Wildcat's still up in this game, so he's, pushing towards those placement points and earning them as we speak right now. Moving closer to that top 10, Boppin and Ghost up on high ground. We've seen them time and time again find these opportunities, find these picks. Not going to find that one, just barely, as he escapes from below him. Right now, again, tarping, being efficient with their materials. They're still lasting a little bit longer, but each time they get knocked out, they get reset. They have to refresh and figure out what they want to do. Not a single one of their eliminations they have gotten the spoils from, the materials to refresh up on.
Absolutely. I feel relaxed looking at this right now. It looks like these guys are just low effort aiming. The server is just moving towards them because their position is just so good. A lot of connects coming in as well. There's going to be a mountain that people have to move up on. Boppin instantly seeing that and moves up. Awesome game sense there. He connects. Now they have an entire choke line on everyone else at the bottom of this side of the server. They can end the game before the 9th zone even shows itself.
And I love what they're doing here. You talked about Boppin getting that mountain, getting the connection here, but Ghost is just staying down below. He knows the conditions of the server. He knows it's running dry on players, so they're making sure that they maximize all of the eliminations they can get, all the potential they can get out of the server. And I think they're going to clean up here, Shio, as they take out one more in Cam, one more player for them to find.
This awesome positioning by both people, spreading apart, then coming together on pinches. Now they're going to fight together. No reason to give the individual Keen 2 1v1s and risk that win. A big tarp coming through all the mats. They finally got some fruition from their eliminations. We'll see if Keen can pull a Savage and Shadow up. He's trying to. Not possible. They're bopping, coming out with a donkey laugh. Easy claps from this duo right now. Keen's still working at it. Ghost has lost. Very awesome and smart play there, going for that last elimination point, making sure these guys have everything from this game possible. Just a perfect 5th to 9th zone height hold and awesome win at the end of the day.
And timing was everything there. They already blocked him out. You saw he tried to shadow out, but he didn't find any opportunities to get out from under that carpet that they made. It was so wide, so strong. And by the time that he ran out of HP, by the time he was about to go to the zone, they made sure they capitalized and got that last elimination.
So I'm seeing something a little bit odd here. I see Riversen on
NA East.
The East servers. Hello.
And, not with his normal partner at all. Anthony, this is a new one for week 10.
Absolutely. You talk about week 10 pressure. It makes people make these not maybe drastic, but interesting choices to make sure they are on top of their game and have the most amount of chance to qualify. They're playing at their peak performance. So at the moment, Anthony and Riversen, 2 big powerhouses, solos and duos coming together. We'll see if they can use their position as a pivot point to make sure the entire server answers to them, just like we saw from the last game, Lola.
And Anthony is one of those players that was severely, very, very hyped going into back at TwitchCon all the way back then in last fall. It's almost a year now since then. That's pretty crazy to think about. His partner Joseph splitting up now and, going with Riversun here, and Riversun obviously possibly moving to the East Coast for this. Absolutely. Or playing on that West Ping regardless.
Big beams coming in as we talk about playing offer utility. Bolt Glace going down to this insane Munch Wombo combo. We talk about positioning as well as Anthony stays up top, letting Riverson stay in the fray of the fight, but providing support as well from just one level above. And they have that pyramid and floor edit as well. It's going to be impossible for those individuals who just went down to do anything for defense. But, Riverson looked as the role model of the West community. A lot of people learn a lot from watching his VODs and his streams. We'll see what he can do on on East. Right now, it's still perfect stuff. Maybe he switched up for his ping as well, but if he is playing on 60, it looks really good.
Looks good indeed. Now moving on to another duo that definitely looks good. It's Commandment and High Sky. Commandment obviously qualifying in the first week of solos. Not yet qualifying in duos. This partner High Sky right here. I also saw in the background Snood and Thwifo, who had a very, very great performance in week 8. And Snood, one of those guys who, was just barely making it week after week after week. So last opportunity here. You have that rift to go. That's going to get them very far in this game.
Yeah, they actually choose, I think, to take the jump pad instead. It might have been an enemy rift. High Sky being the one who also had a very, very awesome Blackheart performance. We'll see if he can replicate that in this moment as well.
First place.
Yeah, first place. It was amazing. Water reviewed that, learned. We'll see if that reload might come in the way of the beam. It does. Unfortunately, no damage going down as he's in brick. Has the rift and smokes as well, as Commandment now gets up with his bandages. A big shot coming off on Warrior. That's a lot of good stuff earned by High Sky there.
And you have to actually notice and take note of how he actually pulled out his rift. He was like, let's go, I'm ready for this. But then starting to, realize exactly what needs to go on. Commandment gets beamed down, but he waited that last extra second to get that elimination. But thankfully for Commandment, at 1 HP, Shio, he does have the minis and the bandages to recover it.
After week 6, people understood that white health is something you have to prioritize so much, especially with the storm flip coming in throughout this whole week. It was just recently disabled for week 10, so people might still be on that bandwagon of holding that white health as for patterns when you practice and then you play again. He's very thankful for that right now, Commandment, because he has those white HPs somehow finding each other in the same box after smokes. It's so hard to locate a good path to move around in, but now Commandment looking for anything to capitalize on. Big beams coming down, 272. The entire blue shield gets broken from that low ground commando skin. Fami finally going down to the storm actually after that beam. We'll see if these guys can smoke again, stick together. Balls everywhere as well. They're going to be dropping down to the low ground. This is the best option for people trying to stick together, but the riskiest after it's done, because you have to now make an entire new development of your own layer, your own boxes, to get enough pressure to capitalize on to the rest of the game.
Now Commandment going down to low ground here with High Sky. I'm curious of what's in High Sky's inventory, because we haven't seen them swap any sort of heals or anything like that yet. But Commandment did get that siphon from the player who went down to zone, but hold on. Explode's coming in from the side. They back up together. Now Shadow's going in again. So, Shio, you've VOD reviewed all these situations many, many times. Look what happened here to Commandment. Playing low ground in these situations end up being so risky, but also potentially rewarding as he picks up one more elimination.
The biggest thing about this zone at the moment is that although people hate on them, balls are still available, making it so that there's not too many builds blocking Commandment from coming back up from that low ground. We talk about low, let's switch over to high. Riverson up top with Anthony, once again doing the rain dance, all the bullets falling down below. Frey, Snood, and Thwifo are actually going to be the ones to get the front of that force from up top. Riverson dropping down, taking a little bit of fall damage, needs a siphon elimination here as he does not have any white heals at the moment. A surprise box opening is now going to be realized that where the pressure is coming from Riversand. We'll see if he can dynamically switch between these mat layers to get a nice vantage point or a surprise shot off on anyone, but there are so many hard mats at this point. Everyone's adapted on the rotation meta, the tunneling meta, when to have wood out, when to use brick and metal, and it's going to be so hard, especially with attack AR, to beam through these builds.
You see him trying to open up the sightlines, trying to break through and create any sort of gap where he can find an opportunity. It does get a little bit of a shield tag, but still nothing yet. As you talked about, the hard mats being so useful for these players down on low ground. Now getting up close and personal, that's Thwifo who goes down, so Snood now left on his lonesome.
We talk about using utility. There's not much available left to crack open the server. We did see Riverson use some stinks earlier to capitalize on an elimination. High Sky now down on bottom with Bluff. These guys are going to have to fight for this entire layer. Big shots being traded. Bluff goes and gets that elimination on High Sky. TJ now falling with COD Genesis. One of the other duos left is going to be a 2v2v1. Anthony and Riverson want to crush down this entire high ground layer. Makes it very easy to pressure. No one's on ultimate low at the moment. Can Bluff call that bluff and go all the way down? COD Gen comes down to Bluff. He might get the siphon for that as well. Give him a nice, easy picking on Anthony and Riverson, as well as they might be able to take height now. A 1v1 coming in, but Riverson representing NA East now, popping off and getting that elimination.
Yeah, switching coasts, and I think that was a perfect, opportunity to talk about their chemistry there in the last moments. That timing by Anthony and Riverson to come down right on top of all the duos, right as they all fell within each other, all of them trading shots together. and then they just come in and clean up. That's all they needed to do.
Absolutely, just stick on the same page, not one person building and one person shooting, 2 shots coming in, and a nice 1-for-2 trade there, or 2-for-1 trade, netting them the win. We now have Zofer chilling on, once again, a Polar Peak lair. Looks like every region is now having their own respective biome to play in. We saw EU with a lot of guys with Northeast games. We'll see if the filter, the great filter, can be overcome this time as Thick Boy Uravs and 99 Zofer see if they can hold off on this pressure. The wall replaces, you're never sure how much ping your enemy has, how much you have. Ooh. A big trap placement coming in, B-Man going down, no secret there, as the whole server now knows the mistakes they've made on that push.
That was a crazy prediction there by Zofer to realize, hey, he's pressuring my roof. He maybe got a roof or 2 or whatever, but then realizing he's going to drop down on my wall next. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively place this trap. And he fell right into it.
The grind that these players do, Atlantis to Duo Arena to these big pro scrims, you'll be facing so many people and identifying so many patterns that sometimes it's just second nature to predict things that just work out for you all the time as well. Sheep and Family now on the top of Polar Peak.
Speaking of second nature, I mean, we're in the box fight era right now, so that is exactly true. As Sheep and Famhood with the high ground on Polar Peak, they're trying to control this entire thing. They're trying to control that edge, and it could be so valuable for them. No, I'm gonna go ahead and dive down.
At the moment, not Panda, not in his natural climate. Gonna get frosted over by Sheep, who's gonna survive with that big wolf fur all over his body. These misfits up top gonna make sure they're gonna do a little bit of mischievous things to the rest of the server as well. 4D, Raz, and Vorpal though, sneaky right below. Not sure if Famwood and Sheep know where they are. Famwood making sure he has some insurance just in case the zone does bounce back. It's actually looking like it is gonna go a little bit behind them. They have that prime position once again.
You just mentioned the insurance right there. What Famhood did was actually connect to the side of Polar Peak so that he makes sure, hey, Raz and Vorpal, I know you guys are down there. I know we landed on your base, but this is our real estate now. If you want to go ahead and make edit plays, no, you can't. I bought it.
The Fortnite housing market has some beef in it right now. We'll see if these guys can figure it out, up that property value. Gonna look at low ground right now. Once again, these people getting caught on the backside of zone, maybe using that rift a little bit too late, all the way up top. Postic taking an elim out on Tyler's. Tyler's now getting knocked after that. The sacrifice you make on low ground sometimes can be too much to give you any advantages as well. A stink grenade coming out on the follow-up. Axiom.
Perfect math. Yeah. Right? He's doing it in his head right now. He knows exactly what he hit that player for. He saw the white damage come through. He did the math. He did the addition. He knows one stink is going to take you out. So perfect recognition here. They took out Painful's teammate a second ago, but no, I thought he was going to go ahead right through the back of that. It's going off the side of Polar right now, and we know who's up on top. It's still Famhood and Sheep continuing to hold that real estate.
The big thing about this Polar mountain, especially when you're playing on the side of it, is it always gives you natural ground to connect to on the mid-ground tarp layer. So that's going to be very important for all these teams who are going to be looking for shots above and below. Trying to shoot up from mid-ground is always a big risk as you can get knocked down from below you, but now that can be opened up. So Sheep is being very meticulous about where he looks at, focusing a lot of his attention on the low ground layers because he knows that this position might be a little bit more vulnerable than usual. Big shots coming out on him, but he has a lot of shields and a rift as well, just in case things do hit the fan. We'll see if he has to use it at all. Dropping in Storm to now waterfall down once again. Dope mat management. He's going to be using one mat all the time to fall, making sure he falls diagonally to make sure he saves on a mat from a tarp switch as well, which is really nice. One elim amongst this duo though, so the capitalization on points might not be there yet, but there are 20 individuals left alive, 12 duos. That first placement point comes in, and we'll see if they can get more points all the way up to the Vic Roy.
I really like what they're doing here, moving so slowly forward. Just find Raz, who was, below him all that time before, but slowly going in on the edge, really making it so that people don't realize that they're a threat, that they're up there, that they have high ground, and they're owning the game right now. Famhood still looking for those opportunities, just like you said. I think he's going to find one more as these players decide to fight. Couple in the zone. He does find KZ, but falls all the way down, unfortunately, going all the way down to 21 HP, and I already see a problem here because there's stink grenades in play, really, up on high ground.
Stink grenades in play on height is one of the most dangerous things because sometimes you can't even build higher. it's a lot worse for you at the end of the day. Wall replaces coming in. Dynamic Menace goes down. The 2-tap coming in. Very nice stuff from Sheep here. He's going to start to go down as well, but he's getting pressured from all sides at the moment. Famhood is also alive on a tick of HP right now. They're going to be looking for connects if that's possible. Famhood staying up so he doesn't get damaged at all either.
And that crazy switch, mat switch right there as he was waterfalling down with wood, and then suddenly he switches. He still had 430 wood. Switches to brick. Makes it possible for him not to get knocked down. And I'm seeing a bunch of names down here that we started with. We saw Urav's Posick, and then Bumpa and Slappy, who each week we have been coming back to, and they've been getting better and better as they've started their journey as a duo together.
Absolutely. High tier loot as well from everyone, so every shot that connects will connect hard. Clank now trying to find a way through with Posick. We'll see if they can come up. 5 eliminations up. Can they get more? The final placement points has been handed out. A shadow comes in, and he gets stopped and slapped away. Slappy gonna get eliminated at the end over there. Some edits getting misplayed from Clank. Can he make it in? 46 HP, 26 now. A lot of damage taken, going to be detrimental towards the end of the game. Famhood actually goes down, so Sheep is left by himself. Clank jumping all the way up. Looks like he actually gets eliminated by the Storm, trying to go for an advantageous position.
Slappy actually got the elimination there because the Storm took him out, and Bumpa's still alive, so that point does connect, and they get into the top 5 as Super Evan goes down now to 1v1v1. Bumpa goes out to Godnik right there. And it's Sheep versus Godnik. Sheep on the high ground, Godnik down below, but he's in a little bit of a pickle because there's actually an iceberg in the way. He goes out in the storm. I think he might have just taken high ground. Sheep doesn't realize where he's at. He's using the chug to heal off. He's running away from Godnik. The first time we've seen the chug splash used in that sort of manner. Running away, getting the ice on his feet on purpose, and then going right out. The chug splash. It's here, it's ready, and we're getting back to those crazy heal-offs, Shayo.
It's happening. It almost looked like a PG fight was going on, but we'll see. Go back to Zeke and see what's up with the rest of the games coming up.
I like that rhyme. I'm about that, Shy. I like you. You're a really cool guy. Man, what an insane game there coming out. The Chug Splash, man. I'm telling you, we have not seen the ceiling for this item. And people are going to continue using it to do some really fun and crazy things like that, but great for the player to identify, you know what, I can just live. I'm just going to keep just splashing the ground. I'm good.
Well, it's a great, because it's a change, right? I talked about it a little bit earlier. This fundamentally shifts kind of how those full storm closure and those heal-offs play, because usually you have to account for it. There's no instant HP. It's either a HP over time via the slope of the campfire, or you have to commit to either procking it off, whether it's the bandage, the med kit, or sitting there and popping a shield. So now all of a sudden, when it's an insta 20 HP and it stacks up to 6 times, like, you can exchange those out. So now a siphon might not be enough. And I mean, those end games, things are getting weird.
Things are getting weird. Speaking of weird, I don't know. I didn't make a great transition. But we're hanging out with Sundown.
These plays were sick. They weren't
I was going to
weird.
say, yeah.
Let's get right on into it, or let's dive on in. You can see the swimming pool over there. But first, we're on board with Niddle and Casker. Now, Niddle has qualified in the solos, is able to pick up 2xe there, and then start his work from top down. He picks up a nice double here onto Zextra right away, and then he finds Vinny right afterwards. So brilliantly done from him to be relentless, chase up with this, and manages to get the wall replaced, and then pushes in and will be able to close that one out. But gets knocked there. Casker, however, held the high ground, didn't go down to contest, and is going to be able to ride this one out. You can see it's a 2v1v1, but he equalizes by picking up Top Gun and then getting the first shot and the second one. 6 HP left. We talked about the difference. That could end up being it. But Ghost is lost, and Bop it didn't look lost here. They were able to put the Bop on the rest of the lobby, picked up Snaz there, and this one was all about control. They're running the high ground from the entire time. They made sure they identified the threats by them, and then they picked good targets on the edge of the storm. And you can see Ghost following up right away. Virtue trying to make a move, but it wasn't enough, and Boppin is going to be able to just follow it up, and you can see them being relentless. And then Ghost, this is great. They tarp out the whole level. They know he's there, and Ghost is like, we're not going to lose. I'm 100/100. I'm going to go down. Every point matters. That one got them the 13th elim, and now we got Anthony and Riverson. So Riverson used to be the best of the West, now playing over in the East, trying to be a beast here, doing everything he can to get another qualification spot. He wants it so badly, picking up Twyfo there and trying to push through. You can see pulls up with a great flank and control around the zone to get TJ, stay in it, and then recognize the shot onto Bluff at the end. Just brilliantly done. We've seen Riversom before, and now trying to do it with the new duo of Anthony in the final week. We're used to seeing him with Persecute, but let's see if it's enough to get him up here on the standings.
Here we go. Right now at the top, you've got Zayt and Saf leading with 48 points, 4 games played. But right behind them, you got the liquid duo of 72 and Vivid. Tetra and Eclipse right behind them. And look at this, man. From top to bottom, an 8-point spread. That's, I mean, 8 points in striking distance is, you know, making it what, let's say top 5 and a few victory royales. And suddenly you're finding yourself up all the way up here. I mean, this is still really, really close.
And the one thing you have to realize, Eclipse and Tetra have already qualified. Zayt and Saf have already qualified. So right now it would be 72 hours and Vivid, Slacks and Keys, and then Assault and Innocent. But with all of these players here, we've talked about a reasonable pop-off game being about 15 points. It's a 5-win victory royale or a top 5 with 8 elims. And in duos in particular, because everyone kind of squishes together at the end, those numbers can be inflated. We've seen 20-plus point games. Yeah. We saw Stompy Hitashinkin drop back-to-back 20-point games to take the top. It is still anybody's tournament for the last 3 spots. And again, this is it. After this, you're done. If you played on NA East, you can hang it up. If you're not going to New York, you get to watch with everyone else.
That's right. And again, you know, if you're seeing these players and you don't recognize them, or maybe you do, just take a moment, send them some love. They're playing their hearts out right now, trying to punch their tickets. But of course, Fortnite fam, we're ready to hop back into more games. Thank you so much, Sunna, for hanging out. We're going for a dip, so let's send it back over to Bala and Shy Wager.
Thank you, Zeke. Those eyebrows always on fleek, and so is NA East as we get into Dubs and Mega, the big titans of the entire server on solos and duos. A nice, varied actually rotation coming in. A ball sticking beside a flintlock pistol like a mother deer and her fawn as these guys move around the field at the moment. A lot of mats available as well, and they keep saving these mats as well when they use this type of rotation.
I love the use of the flintlock as a rotational item. It's something that you can always basically count on finding at least one, or maybe a glider redeploy, shadows, or something. And that flintlock, hey, sometimes you have it and you're like, oh, I don't have any rotation, but it saves the day here as Dubs and Mega make their way towards the zone and almost approaching that top 25. That's not a placement threshold here in duos. It's actually still half of the server alive right now.
It's just really impressive that these guys used these many limited mats, saved the ball, and got in without taking any damage, as it's so hard to do when one player has the ball and the other player doesn't. It takes so much experience. Speaking of experience, knowing the proper sight lines and the proper builds to shoot as well is huge, as Dubs is going to be calling the shots on who to shoot at the moment. Dubs looking at boxes beside him as well that are just completing. A lot of chaos going on around him as well. A blue tac shotgun available, so he gets multiple shots in close range. It actually does out DPS the combat if you are in that box-to-box moment, and that's what he's going to be looking for, doing his patented wall replacing. It is the box fight meta. And we'll see if Mega can play that meta as well, as one duo holds while the other one pushes. Flintlocks coming in that tack. Double tapped. Ghoul goes down, now representing his name as a ghost in the server. We'll see what else these duels can do as we look at a huge aerial shot of everyone on the same layer on this mountain in the map.
Now, starting to flatten out, but we know the moving zones are coming, and we know those change things very fast. And as I was looking at those standings, I was looking and seeing what the average points are for those top places, the people who are going to be qualifying. Zayt and Safet up at the top, they were averaging just slightly over 10 points a game at 46, and they had only played 4 games. Same thing with 72 and Vivid. And, you know, I have a funny story about Dubs and Mega, actually. Dubs was giving me advice on how to play in the finals. He's like, Bala, you got this. You can qualify. All you need to do is get 10 points a game. I'm like, okay, buddy. You're only one of the few people who can do that consistently.
One of the only in the world. We talk about the placements and where individuals are in these leaderboards. The first 5 games and the last 5 games and these 5 shots coming out of Vix are so different and important as he gets that knock. When players are playing your first 5, the mentality is very different. You have some momentum, but as you move around in those leaderboards, those last 5 games, people start getting more serious. People start throwing games. Speaking about throwing things, all these bodies getting thrown in the air as everyone is on rotation at the moment as the zone just starts moving. Looks like no one's really moving that late. Rote is left behind with Zeshi as well.
And I'm already seeing the top 3 players or duos up on the leaderboard, Vivid and 72, and we saw Keys and Slacks as well down below them. Looks like Vivid is in a clutch situation right now as his teammate is already down, trying to find the player on the zip line. He heard it coming. Started to put his attention immediately on it as he tunnels forward. Again, we talk about it every single time. It's always get ahead of the zone, look back, look for those gatekeeping shots as he sees, he opens it up, gets the stairs in, the edit comes through. Divine had no chance and no speed to realize that that was going to happen from Vivid, taking an opportunity to find that elimination.
Divine on the low ground now being dropped down to the underworld as Vivid starts to make his way up. 72 has been eliminated, so it's all him. Only 10 mats though, so it's just him and a Dream at the moment. Now has to barrage through enemy builds with his pickaxe. Has an edit though. The last mat that was his in that box. The dynamic zipline play coming in as he does gain a little bit of height, but needs to go even higher. Balls flying all around him in the map as well. H-tag going down. Can he get the mats from that elimination? Yes, he can. 20 metal only though, as he still has to rely on his trusty pickaxe, denying a player height on that layer as well. He does have 1 launch pad and 1 mat left. Tickers all the way up top with Hornet, who has qualified in solos as well. We'll see if he can replicate that and get double qualled with his dual partner as well. Kutorba dropping down a layer. We'll see if Vivid can find a way up.
Vivid doing crazy things right now. Fortunately, the zone did go back in his favor, so he doesn't have to spend too many materials as it's going downhill, and he uses the 1 piece of metal to block that shot, and now he's looking for more. He's looking to refresh. He needs to find something, possibly both of these eliminations in the storm. Yes, this is going to be the mats that he needs to refresh. Not even much, though. Every single time he finds an elimination, there's not much at all. The edit coming through, is he going to finish it up? Yes, but does he get the mats? Not really. Not really just yet, but taking the time, going back, still only 10 builds, really 15 builds here. Vivid, can you really do this right here with no mats from all the way back when? Clutching up, now into the top 5. He is doing this.
The big thing about getting these low ground eliminations is that everyone else is also in shambles. The big wall barrage coming in with the flint knock. Just nice knowledge about where your materials are and where the angles are to get in. Has 2 heavy snipers available as well, so he takes multiple chances at moving through. Has to move up layers though. Silent edits coming in. Big Enas as well as Frat gets flown off that low ground as well. Vivid's just moving in ways I've never seen. Can he get that launch pad off?
No.
It might not be enough time. Vivid now going down to the zone is going to hold back as much as possible to see if the enemies were making a mistake, but that's the game. Hornet and Tickers playing the positional game there and winning it off with all this multi-high and low ground coming out. Look at these tarps, Bala.
Yeah, this fossil is ridiculous as it goes all the way back. I mean, really, we could actually track the story of Vivid, right? He had no materials through all of this. He barely contributed to that thing, but he survived until top 2. So what a performance there from Vivid, and that's why they're up there. That's why they're in 2nd place right now.
It's always that 1 or 2 pop-off game, and it's always also about staying consistent. If Vivid and Tom keep playing that way, easily they can qualify this week 100%. We see Stinks now, the big focus of week 10. A lot of people carrying them more than normal I've seen right now in all these regions. Nice dodges from Gasha there, though. We'll see if he can move forward. Has a lot of mats available for the moment. 3 elims amongst him and his dual partner Daxter, both representing E11 Gaming. They do have that patented
Alright guys, I think this is enough for today's World Cup. I will see you tomorrow when I stream. It should be around about 3 PM, 2 PM EU time. Alright, see you next stream. Also, before I end it, I am making a video tonight, or tomorrow. Check that out. It should be called Apparently I'm a Bot, or Apparently I'm a Noob, or Apparently I'm a Default. Alright, goodbye.